When you're behind the wheel, you need precision, timing, and teamwork. Racing isn't a solo sport. You need your pit crew and your driver. Neither is cooking. That's why we built YumTwo. YumTwo is your cooking co-driver that lets you cook and find recipes that you'll both like with whatever preferences you have. No matter how hard or how easy it is to find recipes, we'll always have a recipe for you to pick. We're sponsoring the College Cup Series this season, but off the track, we want to sponsor your dinner. Get on the grid before launch and join the waitlist now at YumTwo.com.
Looking for a college where you can learn by doing? The University of Northwestern Ohio puts the wrench in your hand and your future in motion.
I would recommend UNOH to anybody who wants to excel in this industry.
With industry connections, cutting-edge equipment, and programs in automotive, diesel, high performance, robotics, and more, this is education that works.
You will come to this school and you will leave 10 times what you were when you came here.
Apply now at unoh.edu.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We head to the American Heartland today at a place that is no longer on the active NASCAR series schedule, but here tonight in the YumTwo College Cup Series, it comes alive once again. Joining us now at the virtual Kentucky Speedway, it is time for continued coverage of the YumTwo College Cup Series, bringing you the 10th race of this season. It is the Wildcat 200, or the Wildcat Derby 200, powered by Penn College Esports. And this is going to be a fun one here from Kentucky, closing in on the tail end of the season. We got producer Christian Hill tonight, co-commentator Brad Daniels. I'm Alex Gagnon saying welcome in to what should be an absolutely fantastic night of racing. And Brad, I'll tell you what, we are getting to the nitty-gritty of this season, man. We are getting to the very end.
Yeah, we've gone through the turnstile, and you can see on the schedule that's up in front of you right now. Just got back from Martinsville, made it to Kentucky. I think this is where a lot of the drivers were looking forward to this final four tracks. And, you know, they're similar in length comparative to the previous four tracks. But, you know, in the same fact, I mean, Kentucky, Darlington, Auto Club, and Kansas, you have to attack them in four different manners. Not too different from each other. Outside of Darlington, next week that's going to be something completely different. But here in Kentucky, I feel like a lot of drivers in the CIL are accustomed to, well, now the defunct Kentucky Speedway, but this track has a lot to offer. It's fun, it's fast, and it's a great time in these next gen, at least when we've seen it in the CIL as well.
Absolutely. And, unlike Martinsville, where the last time we had really seen it was season 8, several years ago at this point, we were at Kentucky last season. Daniel Nanny picked up the win there. He'll look to go back-to-back here at Kentucky and continue that battle for the points championship that we'll talk about in just a moment here. But this is a track that the drivers are familiar with, even in this series. Even though it's not an active track on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, this is a track that is very active still in the YumTwo College Cup Series, which I think will play a big benefit to the folks getting ready to rock and roll here tonight. And Brad, speaking of Martinsville a little bit, we're just coming off of that race where Sean Campbell got his second win of the season, first on an oval this season, after that big win at Road Atlanta. And Sean Campbell has really put himself in this title hunt with guys like Schulenberger and Daniel Nanny, who's been up there all year long with his 3 wins. It's really coming down the stretch here with only 4 races to go.
I think we got a 3-horse race, and Sean was there all season, top 10s consistently, but really the second half of the season, he had that historic win at Road Atlanta, and that just kind of pole vaulted him into this consistent, finishing up in the top 5 each race. And the 9, you can't really go without seeing him up at the front. He's fast, he's furious, but at the same time, when we get back to Kentucky here, I think this is where a lot of drivers are also going to show off their oval prowess and have a fun time nonetheless.
And there we are. Once again, Alex Gagnon alongside Brad Daniels. And joining us up here as well are the animal forms of Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman. Shout out the Halloween costumes from earlier this weekend. Let's see, I'm going the wrong way. Here you go. You can see the little sign busted, the Mythbusters back there. And the myth today that we'll be testing, Brad, that these guys will be running a 1.5 miles with the majority of this race green. Didn't do it last time at Homestead. Maybe today is the day. I know that there's a lot of guys who have really been spending some time getting ready for tonight's race, and I think that should help a lot with the overall race craft of the evening.
Yeah, and after tonight, I think we're gonna obviously see those who are accustomed back to this 1.5 mile format, and for the next 3 races, Auto Club is obviously that 2-miler that's gonna break up that 1.5 mile pretty much. But outside of that, a lot of these drivers kind of trying to keep cool and comfortable, and get their slingshot all the way to the end of the season here.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we got a second here, let's take a look at the points as we talked about these last couple races coming down to the end of the season. Right now, these are the points as it sits. Look at how knotted up things have got at the top here. Brandon Schulenberger still holds the points lead by only 6 points, and Campbell and Nanny have now tied each other for second at 284. And then, don't look now, Edwin Onofre continues to plug away and stay in the conversation here, Brad. He's about a race or so behind at this point, but he's not out of it yet with how steadily consistent he's been this season. And then, some shuffling here through the top 5. Connor Zabosian, a big jump up after last week. He moves up in the 5th. Reese Bayham, Jake Cummings tied there as well. But, boy, this championship battle is really going to be coming down to these last couple races. Look at how knotted up those things are.
Yeah, and, every point matters in any, sort of racing, especially when it comes to championship standings like we have here in the YumTwo College Cup Series. You got to take every position you can every race because you don't know how many, you're going to need to maybe win the whole thing. And for Brandon Schulenberger, that's only 6 positions. He's in front of Sean Campbell, Daniel Nanny, or maybe even a pole position, fastest lap. There's a couple other variables that you can, pull out a couple extra points. But, also like Edward Sanchez, I don't think he's been in the top 10 all season. He's breaking through now, getting into that 9th place position with Aaron Brown. All these guys, I feel like we've covered consistently throughout this entire season so far.
Yeah, they've done a good job kind of continuing to plug away at it. Looking here, 11th through 20th. Some notable names there, Tyler Schoes and Matt Morton, 11th, 12th at the moment. Maverick Davis, a win earlier this year. He currently sits 13th. A couple of these guys who also have podiums that we've talked to earlier this year. I believe Doug Newbing, Austin DeLong, Brian Ferwetta, podium finish last week. He jumps now into the top 20 in points after back-to-back top 5s for the Embry-Riddle machine. And, you know, the standings will continue to tick away here. And still more drivers, Brad, that we're seeing have a decent year. Just it's the consistency that kind of drops them in this situation.
Yeah, and even, you know, missing some races, and that will definitely hurt you more than anything else. But, you know, you see a lot of these drivers, a lot of these names come up time and time again, and we'll see, I think, throughout this entire, you know, 40 to 50 even section, there's a couple drivers that we'll see here tonight to have, you know, their fun here in Kentucky.
Absolutely. Well, while we have a second, I want to thank the people who make this series possible. There's a lot of people who help put this product on the track week in, week out. First and foremost, ECAC Esports, adding great value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate esports. By Whiplash SimCams, an iRacing esports media group specializing in racing and team graphics, iRacing camera packs, and other broadcasting resources. By YumTwo, cooking is better when it's shared. YumTwo is the new couples cooking app that makes meals fun, interactive, and stress-free with personalized recipes, meal planning, and step-by-step cooking guides. YumTwo helps couples bond through food, and you can join the waitlist now at yumtwo.com. That's YUMTWO.com. And tonight's race sponsor, Penn College Esports, who has been one of the longtime partners here for sponsoring a race every year in the YumTwo College Cup Series. They've also had drivers on the track for the majority of the history of this league, guys like Austin DeLong, Zach Tallman, Dylan Cadena, I know, in past seasons. I mean, they've been here every step of the way. Big thank you to Penn College Esports for their continued participation and support of the CIL, and we're looking forward to see how they do here tonight at Kentucky. Also, quick shout out to the CIL website. If you haven't been there already, that is collegiateiRacingleague.com. That has been built by our famed producer Christian here. You can check out all the happenings here in the CIL, whether that is stuff for the College Cup Series that you're watching here tonight, whether it's Formula College or the Collegiate Sports Car Championship. All that information, plus information on how to join the CIL, is available on that site today. So be sure to check it out and stay up to date on what's happening here around the league. Well, Brad, we'll see if we can take an opportunity here to talk a little bit about Kentucky Speedway. You alluded to it in the pre-show just a moment ago about what this track is like, but kind of take us through what the drivers should expect here tonight at this mile and a half.
Well, a lot of these drivers going through qualifying, you're hugging that bottom line. It's a little further up than the apron, not too far though, and that's where the speed's going to be. We're going to see a lot of drivers hugging that inside line and maybe using the outside to try and get some roars down the back stretch and that front stretch. But you can see here, this $153 million speedway is pretty, has 4 to 17 degree banking, has a decent amount of baking, and since it's been on schedule in 2000, we're getting to 2025 now, so it's survived a quarter century. And this D-shaped oval is always given a lot of people some memories in real life, along with us in the CIL. I know, like you said, we have Daniel Nanny win that last season, and we also had Matthew Morton, I believe, in season 5 win the race. So we have a couple drivers here that know how to have success. I don't think Matthew Morton's in the field tonight, but nonetheless, this is a CIL favorite, and I feel like a lot of drivers don't have a bad opinion of the Blue Cast States Speedway.
Yeah, another track here in the CIL that does not have a repeat winner yet through 4 races. Alabama Huntsville's Kenneth Talbot picked up a win here for the first time in Season 4. Matthew Morton, Daniel Nanny, and also Logan Clampett has won here in the YumTwo College Cup Series. So quite the variety, but quite the list of names of the folks who have gone to victory lane at this racetrack. And tonight we will potentially add a 5th name to that list, or perhaps we will see someone finally double on up for the first time here in 13 seasons. This, of course, being race 10 of season number 13. With that, I believe it's just about time to take us to tonight's starting grid for the Wildcat 200. The Wildcat Dash 200, sorry, presented by Penn College Esports. Starting on the pole here tonight, it is one of those three who are fighting for a championship right now. It's the 30 of Daniel Nanny from Ball State, the reigning champ, a 30.772. Puts it up on the top spot. Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte, winner this year at Michigan. He rolls off to the outside, only 300ths off. Row 2 tonight will be King's College's Doug Newbinging in the 07, and Connor Zabosian enters tonight 5th in points. He'll roll off in the 4th position. Sean Campbell, winner a week ago, he rolls off 5th, with Drew Williams from Clemson rolling off in the 6th position. And row number 4 will be Aaron Ramon from Texas A&M International. Brennan Lyman from Oklahoma Panhandle State University rolls off in the 8th spot. And rounding out the top 10 of the starting grid, 2 more drivers in the top 10 in points. It's Jake Cummings from Converse University and Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas.
We have the University of Northwestern Ohio's Tyler Skozen starting 11th and current points leader Brandon Schulenberger starting in 12th. In 13th, it's Brian Ferretta trying to follow up that podium finish last week. He's from Embry-Riddle. To his outside, Edward Sanchez from Baruch. In 15th, Ben Neller from Ball State. And to his outside, the 076 of Matthew Norberg from NC State. Cherry Lambrecht from Texas A&M University San Antonio lines up in 17th. To his outside, Nick Stockner from Clemson. And rounding out your top 20 here tonight, Cade Corbin from the University of Alabama in Huntsville. To his outside, Kelton Quick from Ball State.
Looking at the 21st spot here, Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M. Texarkana rolls off in that spot. Andrew Burrell from Clemson rolls off 22nd. 23rd here tonight, Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology, who is sponsoring this race tonight. Miguel Carrera from Houston Downtown rolls off 24th. Keegan Kalick rolls off in 25th, looking for his second podium of the year. His teammate Logan McKim rolls off alongside. 27th will be Zach Tallman from the Penn College of Technology and Ethan Head from the University of Tennessee to his outside. And rounding out your top 30, it is Connor Bingle from Alabama Huntsville and Ryan Smith making his second start here for Auburn University.
31st, we have Josh Camphor from Kansas State. To his outside, Lee Winters from Vincennes. 33rd, Nick Henley from Ball State University. To his outside, Robbie Hotchkiss from New England College. And 35th, Madison Ulrich from Otterbein. And to her outside, Jack Wilson from the University of North Georgia. In row 19, we have Carter Cupini from Paul Smith College. To his outside, Aaron Brown from Eastern Shore Community College. And rounding out your field here tonight, it is New England College's Riley Birkins.
The 39 cars ready to take the green flag here in about 2 minutes' time. Brad, we've had the opportunity to see, 9 races so far this year. Qualifying's in the books. What are your expectations here tonight? What are the drivers thinking? Getting back up to speed again after the short track last week where everything's so heavy on the brakes, so heavy on the turning. Today you can really let it rip just a little bit more before having to dive into the corners. Any adjustments that these drivers are going to have to make, you think, after coming off of Martinsville last week?
I think they're probably using the race before that in Homestead maybe for a better block to build on, because I think everyone was just anticipating that mile and a half race to be guns a-blazing, everyone just go at it. But it turned into a lot of just attrition, just a long race for a lot of the drivers and viewers alike. And I think tonight it's most important for everyone to try and keep it simple, keep it safe at the beginning here, at least make up the positions. But I don't think anyone wants a repeat of what Homestead was in that sense. And nonetheless, these drivers, we have a lot of people that are desperately trying to get through this top 10 in points. So Daniel Nanny, Sean Campbell, Brandon Schulenberger starting back there in 12th, he's going to be trying to get back up with some of these title hopefuls. And I think we're going to not talk about Edwin Onofre because I feel like he's, never in the limelight for a lot of these races so far this season. But, he's starting in a good position right ahead of Brandon Schulenberger. So, I think to watch those top 4, try to make moves, try to keep as many points as they can from their competitors is going to be what I'm really going to be watching here, probably for the most part, unless some crazy stuff happens. Because I know like Tyler Skozen and some others are up there just, putting metal to the pedal, or pedal to the metal. I said that backwards.
Well, they might be doing both. You never know. They might be reaching up and grabbing the floorboards, bringing it back up there, getting a little extra juice out of it. I mean, this has been it's been a wild season to say the least. And to your point, I mean, we're shaping up here for a absolutely stellar 3, potentially 4-car battle for the championship with 4 races to go. I know Frey's a little on the outside, but he's been one of those guys this year where we've seen him qualify, say back in like the 20s, and we go, all right, we'll see where he ends up. And then with 5 laps to go, he's running like 4th or 6th, and we're like, oh, he's here, he's in the mix, and that I think has been just about every race this season. We've had that thought about the 199, so certainly can't count him out. But the 30, I think, is going to be the man to beat here tonight. Put it on the pole. He is second in the points, but only 6 points back of Schulenberger, and he's got the most wins so far this season, does Daniel Nanny. I think that the 30 car is in really good shape and is definitely motivated after having the race last week in Martinsville kind of slip through his fingers a little bit. I think he's going to be ready to rock and roll here tonight. Is going to be one tough customer to try to beat. So cars just starting to get rolling now off of pit road. And they're going to be getting gridded up for the first time here today. Brad, why don't you take us through a little bit of our race analysis here?
Well, as you can see, the track is a little toasty at 113 degrees. That's going to give a little more wear on those tires, but nonetheless, pretty much a perfect day here in the great state of Kentucky. You can see 133 laps are on the docket here tonight. And like always, one green, white, checkered attempt. And nonetheless, unlike my talking, I think a lot of the drivers here are going to have to, try and not use all their tire sets, make it through without misspeaking or misdoing something. Because, this whole time, I can't speak.
Well, I tell you what, Brad, I certainly hope that you've also got a spare tire set coming off the wall as well.
Please, yes.
Once we get going here, because I mean, normally I'm like, it's what it is, but that's a tough start. So hopefully we'll both rally here, because I don't think I've had a particularly clean and green start in the pre-show either. But nature of the beast. We're working with Christian for the first time in a couple months here. Always a pleasure to have him up here in the booth with us. But here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. He peels off down pit road, and the field is going to hit that restart zone. And never mind, the pace car is still on the racetrack. Nope, they extended it? They may have just extended it.
Surprise.
Yeah, okay, sorry about that. They extended the yellow one more lap here, folks. Says not everyone had got off pit road and cycled to the back of the field yet. So the pace car going to make his way back out just to kind of catch everyone on the backstretch, just to go back down pit road into turn 3. And we'll try it again this time. So, yeah, it was what we were just saying, Brad, about a bit of a clunky start here in the booth. That very much continuing. We really need him to drop this green flag the next time around.
And plus, it's a day race, so the pace car's not going to be blinding anyone with its Ultra Beam headlines. I think that was Homestead, where it was just burning eyeballs.
That was a very notable subplot of either last week or 2 weeks ago. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, to your point. All right, let's try it again here. Field stacked up in 3 and 4. Lights are off on the pace car. The field is all grouped up, so this time for sure we're going to get rolling. Ball State's Daniel Nanny is going to be leading them to the green. Clinton Halterman from UNC Charlotte is going to be leading that outside lane. It's Newbinging, Zabosian, Campbell, and Lyman in the front 6. Pace car down pit road. Barney's got that flag high in the air. And for the first time tonight, we are green and racing at Kentucky. Concluding that first lap We have got Daniel Nanny up front, Doug Newbing and Sean Campbell, your top three. If the outside lane had a little bit of a tough time getting going. I'm not sure if the 100 spun the tires or what, but the 72 got punted out of lane there, Brad, as well, and both the 100 and the 72 paid dearly for it. They're both down positions from where they started as Ramon and Zabosian go around. Aaron Ramon in the 143 sideways. And he tries locking it down. Looks like everyone's going to be able to get on by. That is going to bring out the first yellow of the night, though. Just as we were watching that battle between the 72 and the 143, everything comes unglued in turns 3 and 4.
In the moment I was going to start talking here, you could see that Ford Mustang of Aaron Ramon just ended up the wrong direction. So we're going to take a look back and see how this all unfolded. I think we were pretty much on, top of that one. I think Jake Cummings stuck his nose on the inside there going into 3 and 4. And I don't know, we'll have to take a shot at the replay here, but, that 3 wide immediately, I think it didn't catch the other two. It caught the other two off guard. So, nonetheless, first caution of the day, getting it out early. After the first couple laps, we had one green flag lap at least. And now we're going to see what else has happened. And Kelton Quick also went from 20th to 11th in those 2 laps, so that's something else, along with Logan McKim getting 26th to 16th. But we're going to look back here at the UNOH EDU replay, and you can see Jake Cummings moving to the inside, sticking that nose in there, and it looks like Zabosian might have not just came down on Aaron Ramon there. And the 72 relatively unscathed, but you could see Aaron Ramon just gets sent in a spin cycle. And honestly, collecting no one else, which is very, very good.
I think that is the nature of the beast there. Of the 143 knows that the 95 makes that move to the inside, and therefore doesn't want to come down on top of him. That message, probably through the iRacing spotter, did not reach the 72 as Zabosian quick enough when he started making his descent in turn 3, hence the contact there with the 143. And we're on board here with Nick Henley at the back of the field, and just barely finds enough room between Riley Birkins and Aaron Ramon to slide on through. Big scare for the 64, but boy, he found a way to make it work.
And there was a couple other drivers that had to get sent back for EOLs, and you saw Drew Williams was back there, Edward Sanchez, a couple others obviously having to deal with some other penalties from previous races that are being served now. But for everyone, right now it seems like Doug Newbigging had a great jump, able to get into that second place position, and Daniel Nanny taking control early through that lap and a half. But like I said earlier, Kelton Quick 20th to 10th. We have a couple others like Logan McKim 26th to 17th, and obviously that caution caused a lot of people to get a little shook up, and plus those EOLs. But moving, you'll see these drivers trying to move as fast as they can on these restarts.
Yeah, we've already had a couple of big movers, to your point. Kelton Quick, big mover. Austin DeLong, Logan McKim. A couple of folks making some big moves. Connor Bingle is up 9 as well toward the back of the field. So a lot of cars starting to try to capitalize on the fact that, a couple laps green, then that caution to try to gain a few more spots. But lights are off on the pace car, and be a very different look to this front 6 now after that outside lane had a really bad launch that first time. It'll be Nanny and Doug Newbinging on the front row, with Halterman and Campbell row 2, Cummings and Zabosian, Skozen and Onofre, Stockner and Quick. Your top 10 when they go to restart here. And Brad, really curious to see if that outside lane restart, if that issue persists beyond the opening start, or if that's going to be something we have to keep an eye on throughout the day here on any of these ensuing restarts.
And I feel like every single lap pretty much has been, well, not lap, sorry, every single race has, obviously that inside line gets the control. And I feel like, Daniel Nanny has been so consistent at getting those huge jumps, and we'll see if that happens here again. Doug Newbigging being the new challenger on the outside row here in Kentucky, but the 30 and the 07 lining up to bring the field to green yet again, coming to lap 6. Barney has that green flag in hand. You have Sean Campbell and Clint Holtzman looking right behind them as well as they go into the restart zone, and the green flag is down and away. And Daniel Nanny getting a heck of a jump.
Yeah, he jumped right out there, and Clint Halterman followed him right on through. Halterman's going to squeeze it in there for second. He'll take that away, so he's back up the P2. Now Newbigging fighting back on the outside. Side by side for second. Here comes Jake Cummings to make it a 3-car battle.
And Newbigging just had all that momentum come out of two, able to secure that second place position right back from Clint Holtzman. And now Sean Campbell filing into fifth as Jake Cummings is able to keep it in fourth for now. In the battle for sixth with Tyler Scoza and Connor Zabosian ongoing, it looks like actually Zabosian's able to close that off. And now we're single file to about 12th or 13th.
One more note while we have a second about Halterman and Cummings.
Whoa.
Remember, folks, last week the two of them got together from first and second, basically ending either of their chances at the win last week in Martinsville. Wonder if that's going to be going through their minds here today as Nordberg sideways. He saves it. Oh, now snapping back up the track right in front of Brian Ferwetta. The 248 hard contact for the Embry-Riddle machine.
And before that, Trey Lambrecht also into the wall in turns 1 and 2. So a lot of people getting loose here with these fresh tires. As you know, we talked about Brian Ferwetta a lot last week, and this is definitely not the start the Embry-Riddle machine wanted, along with the Wolfpack machine of Matthew Norberg. Well, I feel like we're having a consistent time on watching these cautions play out in real time.
That's a good trend to have in the early going. But it's definitely tough that we've had two here in the opening 8 laps. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happened to the 076 here in Nordberg. See, to the outside here of Godinez going into 3 and 4. And yeah,
Whoa.
Just lost the back end a little bit. It looked like here he was going to have it saved. And then it just snaps back up the racetrack and absolutely nowhere for Brian Ferwetta to go.
Ooh, and Riley Birkins, Robbie Hotchkiss, Wesley
pair of
Shaw.
teammates.
Oh, right. I get spun right around. I thought the 73 was able to get through for a second, but that Texarkana car is going to get a little damage on the right side there. We're going to take a look back now. We're going to ride along with Robbie Hotchkiss in the 6th. You can see Lee Winters on the outside. Oh, actually, Riley Birkins. We're going to take a little switch up.
Well, either way, we're going to see them both. The two New England College cars end up collecting each other in this wreck. And they make their way around to turn 4. And you're going to see both of them get piled into the Ferwetta machine. And, boy, yeah, there's Trey Lamprecht. That was a separate incident with Trey Lamprecht. No wonder he's got a current black and orange meatball flag for damage. Looks like he had hit the wall there pretty good in 2. But take a look at this.
Oh, hard hit for the 30th. I mean, I don't even know if Robbie Hotchkiss could even see what was going on up there at a certain point when he got to Riley Birkins, but nonetheless, you can see the 73 doing the spins right into the infield grass, and not a terrible amount of damage for Wesley Shaw, but still definitely don't want to be collected in any of these wrecks here this early in the race.
Take one more look here on board with Riley Birkins in that 33 machine for New England College. Just to the outside of Madison Ulrich here. You see the smoke, and yeah, did not see Ferwetta. Not much you can do from that angle, and if he didn't see him, I have no doubt Hotchkiss couldn't see him. Also, something just happened with Connor Bingle under yellow. The 68 went for a ride off of turn 4. I don't entirely know what happened. I think he's trying to warm his tires maybe or something. Might be... Is it the 68? I think it was. Hold on, let me...
Just slow and steady. Seeing what happens.
Yeah, somewhere in this replay, it's just as he's exiting turn 4. We might need to go back maybe slightly further or something, or maybe it's a lap ahead or a lap before. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know why it's not showing on the replay here, folks, but on the cameras here for the broadcaster, he's trying to warm his tires, and the car just snaps up into the outside wall. He makes contact with the front of the car. Don't really know why it's not showing, but I guess you're just going to have to take our word for it. The Connor Bingle has a little bit of right front damage, but we're going to cut back to the live shot here because they are racing once again at Kentucky while we were trying to hunt that one down. And we are green once again.
Doing a little bit of digging, and that's obviously right now. You know, nothing much has changed. Don't worry, folks. But right now, you can see Jake Cummings taking a look to the inside yet again, trying to take that lower line away from Clint Haldeman. Haldeman powering on that outside, able to keep third place, and really a great distance between the two. It looks like that looked like Nick Stockner and Tyler Skozen leaning on each other a little bit, as Nick Stockner is up 10 positions right now. The Clemson machine now up 11, trying to use the outside on the 28. He's been getting through the field and making his presence known. He's getting right up on that rear corner panel of the 28 and powering on through down through the backstretch, but they're going to be nose to nose coming into 3 and 4.
Yeah, he tried pinching the 28 down a little bit. Skozen gave him a bit of a tap to shuffle him up the racetrack. A little bit of dueling here early on. Just in front of him, Zabosian in a heated battle with Jake Cummings for 4th. The 72 trying to take that spot away. Might just do it here into turn 1 as well. He continues to look around the high side, similar to what we were just seeing a second ago with Stockner and Skozen behind him. However, this battle not going to be settled yet. This is a battle for 4th on the racetrack right now. They're trailing Nanny, Halterman, and Newbingen through 3 and 4.
These two have been pretty much around each other the entirety of these last couple of laps, you know, before that caution even. And as you see, Connor Zabosian able to close that 4th place position away on the back bumper of Doug Newbingen now. But nonetheless, I mean, it looks like also right behind them, Brandon Schollenberger is trying to take the 8th spot away from Tyler Skozen. Skozen going the wrong direction on this restart, falling back to 9th position now as Brandon Schollenberger climbing through the field, trying to keep his points lead healthy, as Sean Campbell and now Nick Stockner going at it for the 6th place position.
Yeah, a little side-by-side action here between the driver of the 124 and the driver of the 9. Campbell slips back now to the 7th spot. Stockner up to 6th. It's been a spirited drive so far for the Clemson car, as he has worked his way up just outside the top 5. He's going to try to reel in Jake Cummings here in just a moment. That gap continues to shrink just a little bit. We are making our way next time by the lap 16. Daniel Nanny has led each lap so far, most of which under yellow, starting to get together. A couple of green flag runs, though. Halterman, Newbingen, Zabosian, and Cummings are top 5 as we continue to watch off the back bumper of Nick Stockner here. Watching that distance sort of oscillate between the 9 and the 124 right now. Campbell just about 2 car lengths off for the past couple laps.
And I feel like for the 124, you can see the racetracks that he definitely has a warpath for whenever he's on rails, because he can climb his way up through the field very well. And Nick Stockner not afraid to be aggressive either. So the 124 definitely making his presence known early in the race. As we're looking further on back here, this looks like for a battle for 11th between Kelton Quick and Keegan Calick. Calick trying to maybe get a 2nd podium of the season, but obviously got about 10 or so cars to get by, and some fast ones, you know, right around him. Edward Onofre 4th in points right there lurking in the background. And Kelton Quick, definitely seen him around time or two here for Ball State. Pretty much all of these Ball State drivers have a lot of speed no matter where you go. And nonetheless, you can see now Cowlick under attack from Edwin Onofre as we speak of the devil. He's going on the outside, and Clemson's Drew Williams also in the 15th position, trying to take the spot away from Cade Corbin. We got a 2x2 battle here, Alex.
Yeah, and speaking of which, Cade Corbin just hit the wall hard off of turn 2. We stayed green, but boy, that 2x2 suddenly ended right off the corner there as the 0-way to Corbin hit it pretty flush. He's going to lose a few positions, now under attack from Miguel Carrera, and Matthew Nordberg is around in turn 4 again. The 076 hard into the outside wall. He brings it down to the apron of the racetrack. Green flag stays out, but boy, Nordberg took another shot there in 3 and 4.
Gonna take a look back here at the Wolfpack, and I think, like Alex said, he spun around. That car has seen better days here in the CIL, but we're gonna ride along here. You can see, getting right up to the back bumper of Jack Wilson. Both of them getting in the wall there from turn 2. And coming into 3, they were 3 wide back here, and it gets right into the rear corner panel. I believe that is Logan McKim hitting the 076, and he gets, another overcorrection in turn 4, sends him into the outside wall. And the car really speaks for itself that he has been beaten up today.
Certainly has. It may have been a little bit of net code either way. Heavy damage for the 076, but we stay green up here. Sean Campbell has just worked his way past Nick Stockner for the 6th position once again. Starting to put some pressure now on the 95 for that 5th spot. And just behind them, the 100 of Drew Williams. That's a car that's making a lot of forward progress in a hurry right now. Sorry, the 123 of Drew Williams is a car that's making a lot of progress right now. He is up to 11th after having to start at the tail end of the field. And he is rolling right now. Meanwhile, Stockner back on the attack here against Campbell. And don't look now, but Brandon Schulenberger starting to work his way in here as well. The points leader coming into tonight is rallied up to the 8th position.
You can kind of see the field is starting to get a little bit dispersed in these tiny packs. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of a gap back to Skozen from Brandon Schulenberger. And, Clint Halterman's in an island all of his own because Dan Lanny is just powering through. Has the fastest lap, has the fastest car so far. And all of that, getting him to almost a second lead over the 100. But Doug Newbigging leading this little group of 6 cars here. And then, you see you got little group after little group further on back. So this is what Kentucky brings. It's not really, too much draft dependent, but at the same time, when you have these drivers around you that you can use to pull you down this back stretch and the front stretch, it helps a ton. But, as I'm saying that too, it looks like Tyler Skozen's actually getting a good headway into this group, as it looks like Nick Stockner now looking to the inside of the 9 yet again. The 124 just taking a look, but not able to do anything about it coming out of Force. And you have to think for Nick Stockner, he was really pushing that car through the opening laps, and maybe he was hoping for, maybe a caution-heavy front end of this race, get some positions, and then send it down pit road for some fresh rubber.
Yeah, settling in right now to that 7th spot. Tried a couple times here to make a move on Campbell, just didn't quite have the ability to keep it down there and get to the inside of the 9. We're starting to stretch this out. This hot track may be starting to play a factor to the tire life here, especially for the 124, who was really digging in those early laps. Here comes Schulenberger now, applying a lot of pressure to the back bumper of Stockner, the current points leader, trying to get up there, and then error washed really badly on entry there in 1. Got right up to the back bumper, and that wall of dirty air kind of pushed him up out of the way, lost some time as Ben Neller trying to get back up to speed here for Ball State. That 79 car looks like he's having some issues, as Campbell has worked his way past Jake Cummings now. Campbell up now to 5th, and he's putting some, he's filling the mirror of the 72 as opposing right now, maybe taking a peek in the 1.
I feel like one of these drivers, we talk about, I feel like a different driver each season that's able to keep their tires in a whole different state of mind. Dan Lanny, always at the top of that list, I feel like, but Sean Campbell, no matter what car you put the 9 in, he's going to find a way to keep those tires extended life. And nonetheless, I feel like Sean Campbell's going to use that to his advantage if this green flag cycle continues, as he is now tracking down the 72 come out of 4. You can see he's applying a lot of pressure to the Kettering machine, but Connor Zabosian not giving an inch, not messing up yet at least, as Sean Campbell, just doing what he can, trying to apply the pressure. No rush. I mean, the top 2 are pretty much away from this group as it stands, but if Sean Campbell can keep these tires cool on this hot day, that's definitely going to help him get these leaders back in, as we're looking for a battle for 7th again.
Yeah, a little battle here. Schulenberger trying to complete the pass here on Nick Stockner off of 4. Side by side, they will be at the stripe. And to the point you were making a second ago about Sean Campbell, never mind. There is a yellow out on the racetrack. And that is Ryan Smith in the Auburn car, who is all types of sideways just before the start-finish line. The 82 getting back rolling here, but that is going to bring out the yellow for the third time here tonight, as he will get going again. Looks like some right front damage for the Auburn Tiger.
We're gonna take a look back here at the UNOH replay. Right along here with Ryan Smith coming through 3 and 4. And on an island of his own, the 82, it looks like just overcorrects. It gets headlong into the outside wall. Luckily, doesn't collect anyone, as everyone's able to dodge and weave either to the inside or outside of the Auburn Auburn machine. So nonetheless, not too terrible damage for the 82. Definitely fixable, but we're going to ride on board here and see just what happened. You can see he's fighting that car come out of 4, and obviously all that fighting ends up with the front end scrunched in for the Auburn machine. And unfortunately, for Ryan Smith, a lot of scuffed tires, a lot of positions lost, and definitely some damages that'll need repaired on pit road.
And this comes at a good time for the field, about 30 laps in. Perfect opportunity to get fuel and tires here. So I think we're going to see a lot of cars who are going to take up that offer to come down pit road. We'll find out in just a moment. Everyone, though, going to be following the 30 down pit road. And, yeah, looks like pit road, a very busy place down here on the racetrack right now. Pit stops underway for the first time here tonight at Kentucky. We have a big opportunity to try to gain some track position.
A conga line of cars coming through pit road, and like Alex said, there are 4 additional sets for all of these drivers. If you're cutting that up, that's less than 25 laps for each tire set, so they're over their average right now, as everyone's taking advantage of some fresh rubbers here. You can see every one of these leaders getting back on the pit road, and we'll see who got maybe fastest in the box. Right now, I think Aaron Ramon might have missed his box.
Oh, I think Aaron Ramon definitely missed his box. Oh, disastrous for the 143. Looks like Nanny will win the race off of pit road, with Halterman and Newbinging still retaining that second and third spot. The big story we saw there, though, Aaron Ramon missed his pit box going in. That is a brutal turn of events for the 143, who had already been behind the 8 ball with that early spin tonight. Well, we're going to take a quick step aside here at the CIO. When we come back, continued coverage of tonight's event, the Wildcat Derby 200. Here from Kentucky, we'll be back in just a moment.
When you're behind the wheel, you need precision, timing, and teamwork. Racing isn't a solo sport. You need your pit crew and your driver. Neither is cooking. That's why we built YumTwo. YumTwo is your cooking co-driver that lets you cook and find recipes that you'll both like with whatever preferences you have. No matter how hard or how easy it is to find recipes, we'll always have a recipe for you to pick. We're sponsoring the College Cup Series this season, but off the track, we want to sponsor your dinner. Get on the grid before launch and join the waitlist now at YumTwo.com.
Looking for a college where you can learn by doing? The University of Northwestern Ohio puts the wrench in your hand and your future in motion.
I would recommend UNOH to anybody who wants to excel in this industry.
With industry connections, cutting-edge equipment, and programs in automotive, diesel, high performance, robotics, and more, this is education that works.
You will come to this school and you will leave
We are back here at Kentucky. It's going to be Nanny and Halterman once again on the front row as the green flag goes back in the air. Racing once again at Kentucky. A good launch for the 30. Newbinging not quite able to immediately jump to the inside of the 100. Halterman trying to hold on to that second spot up high.
And on such a hot day, a lot of these drivers have to think about these cold tires. Is Nick Stockner not think about them at all? Sending it 3 wide between Jake Cummings and Sean Campbell, able to make it work as he's able to get past the 95 and now side by side with Sean Campbell. For a second, I thought maybe he was going to try to look to the inside of Connor Zabozi and squeezing the 9 down there to the apron. You can see now Jake Cummings trying to find a way around the two of them and almost chopping the nose off. Oh, Austin DeLong.
DeLong and Skozen got tangled up there on the front straightaway. And that's going to bring out the yellow again. I think from what we were seeing there, DeLong went for an elevator move trying to carry a run off of 4 and just was not clear of Tyler Skozen when they hit the stripe. See if we can take a look at the replay here and see what happened.
Unfortunate for the 222. He's battling his way up through the field, and right now you could see looking to the outside of Tyler Skozen. We are looking at that battle right in front where Jake Cummins slides right up in front of Brandon Schulenberger, and that actually prompted the 222 to try and dive down and maybe make a move below Brandon Schulenberger, but I don't know if he didn't get the call. Tyler Skozen was there or what exactly happened there, but the two of them fighting for the same real estate, and obviously neither of them winning out as both of them get collected in that mess. We're going to take a live ride along with Tyler Skozen here. And if you're the UNOH driver, you don't even see.
I almost wonder if we could do an onboard with DeLong. I almost wonder if he just saw that everyone was working their way down the track here, trying to stay in the draft, trying to carry that run, and just was following Schulenberger down the hill, not even realizing there was a car to the inside there. Yeah, that's a tough break for DeLong and for Skozen. That was happening inside the top 10 when it happened. These guys were running in about the 8th and 9th position or so when the caution came out. Puts us under the yellow for the 4th time here this evening.
And, Alex, we're a quarter of the way through this race, and this past weekend, we had a lot of things going on. We talked about Halloween, I think, for the last 2 weeks, but also daylight savings time. And, a lot of the time I feel like now with, every day feeling like it's nighttime at 4 p.m., it's, time of the year to start thinking ahead to Thanksgiving, time of the, bundle up, get warmed up. Is there anything, this time of year that you enjoy the most? I mean, I know you're in Florida, so you don't really experience too many.
I was about to say, when you were saying like, it's getting cold, bundle. I'm like, man, not down here. It was like 68 here today. It was lovely, except for the fact of, when you have, the holidays roll around and it's still in like the high 50s and you can like walk outside in shorts. That's a little weird. It's a time for sure, but I think this time of year is it's fun because there's so much stuff going on that isn't at any other point in the year. Everyone kind of uses this as the opportunity to try to catch up with folks they don't typically see too often, and it makes it fun to try to connect, see what's going on, and really experience the joys of spending time with folks, and even in a little roundabout way. That's part of the reason what I enjoy bringing the YumTwo College Cup Series, not only with you guys, but bringing it to the folks at home week in, week out, is building a nice little sense of an opportunity for everyone to get together for something that we all enjoy, which is watching these 3,400-pound stock cars that whip around here close to 200 miles an hour. I think probably today a little closer to 180, but it's always a lot of fun, and it's, any reason to get together with people that you enjoy spending time with and that you care about, that's a win in my book. Sorry, that one didn't really answer your question. That was just kind of a whole separate tangent. But it is, it's all from the heart. And, I got to wonder, at this stage in the race, if anyone in this field feels confident in their ability to track down the 30, because Daniel Nanny has just been untouched, really, since the drop of the green flag here tonight, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about wanting to be around people. Right now, Daniel Nanny hasn't really been around anyone outside of these restarts. He's been able to pull away from the field and keep it that way. I think Clinton Holderman has done a great job on just keeping himself within a second of the 30, but no one really able to keep up with the Ball State machine. You can see the race recap, the cautions that have happened so far here today and those involved, and obviously now prompting this newest restart here, getting past the quarter waypoint in the race here at Kentucky, as Daniel Nanny, Clinton Halderman leading the field yet again to the restart zone. Barney got that green flag in hand, and the Ball State machine, Daniel Nanny, gets a huge jump yet again to bring us to green.
Trouble on the restart, deeper in the field. I think it was partially Edwin Onofre, but he was not the only one who had some issues. Might have also been Logan McKim, who got stacked up on the restart. Kind of wild that this thing stayed green because everyone was scrambling to try to get up to speed here.
Onofre, I mean, lucky to keep himself unscathed. It looks like the front bumper might be a little dented in of the 199, but nonetheless, he's able to charge on and keep on going in the 15th position. As we're going to look further up in the field here, we got some fast guys who've been in the CIL for a long time now. And Brandon Schollenberger, Jake Cummings, these two former teammates now battling it out yet again for 7th. It looks like Brandon Schollenberger is able to edge out the 95 right now and maybe looking to get that 6th place position away from Sean Campbell.
Yeah, right now, good little battle going on there. Looks like Brennan Lyman, Edward Sanchez also duking it out for the 10th spot just behind him. As you see Schollenberger looking to the inside of Zabosian there. Couple of battles happening through the field as they're all trying to get sorted out, find their place on the racetrack, and Jake Cummings going to make it 3 wide back there. He's to the inside of Schollenberger and Zabosian. This is for 6th, 7th, and 8th. They are 3 wide coming off of turn 4, and they're almost running out of space there. Schollenberger and Zabosian almost got together. Now here comes Cummings once again. We've got ourselves a fantastic battle going on for 6th.
Zabosian, pretty much all he can do is just keep it up near that wall and get the runs that he can. But right now, Schollenberger able to take that 6th spot away, and Jake Cummings is right there on the doorstep looking to the inside of the Kettering machine. Connor Zabosian been up here all day, and now, nonetheless, just, falling back on this restart, he's been, not consistently up there. I think this has just been an unfortunate series of events. He's kind of stuck on that outside and letting... Right now, that inside line is just trucking through the 72, and if you're Connor Zabosian, you see this gap right now, and you're happy to see it, because that means you can at least not have to battle another lap.
So here we go. These cars starting to get stacked up. Zabosian to the back bumper of Cummings, Quick to the back bumper of Zabosian. 7th, 8th, 9th is the 72. A late move, tried getting to the outside of the 95. Cummings blocked it off at the last possible second. Here comes Stockner to the inside of Sean Campbell. This battle, 4th and 5th right now on the racetrack. The 124 trying to work the inside to get that 4th position. Campbell trying to get it on the high side. Nice little battle there. Tell you what, that 124 it has not been a flash in the pan, his ability to drive up to the front of the field so far today. He seems to be really going after it right now with Sean Campbell, who's probably been the hottest driver in the series over the past 3 weeks between his 2 wins and 3 top 5s.
Stockner not afraid to go after him, though, as he's going to secure that 4th place position again. That's the second time. Whoa, he's loose out of 2, and around goes Nick Stockner.
He's going to hold on to it, just barely touches the inside wall. We stay green as he tries to work his way into turn 3, but devastating for the 124 of Nick Stockner. That car was so fast. Now he's got some left front damage. He had just cleared the 9 and was trying to get back to the throttle to fully complete that pass, and the back end just stepped out on him.
It looks like he's going to have to battle his way back up through the field again. the Clemson machine. Unfortunately, had that, that's the best drive I've seen him have this whole season. And, the tire's still cold, but nonetheless, it, ends up in a bad sense. But, now you can see the 123 of Drew Williams picking up the Clemson torch and carrying it forward, trying to make his way through the top 10. Had to start in the back of the field here today, and now trying to get the 7th place away from Connor Zabosian.
Yeah, just as one Clemson driver leaves the picture, another one enters. Drew Williams to the inside of Zabosian here in 3. Not quite going to be able to make it work that time. He tried getting under the 72. Here comes Lyman to the high side. Spirited effort to the outside here, the 123. He's looking for that 8th spot. Kelton Quick right in on the action as well. Who's he going to go with? The answer is nobody going into turn 1. So they're all on top of each other here. More battling. Williams starting to slide back here. Lyman takes that spot. And now Williams under attack from Kelton Quick as Quick looks to the inside. A lot of cars here in this top 10, all shuffling position lap after lap. We figured Kentucky was going to be one of these harder 1.5 miles to pass at, Brad. But so far, it seems like, at least from what we've been able to watch, there's been a good bit of opportunities to go out and do that.
Yeah, and I think as, these tires wear this hot track is going to make it harder and harder for these guys to try and get around each other, make these passes as they get further into these runs. And Zach Tallman having a great day right now, up into the 12th position, maybe trying to push his way into the top 10. You can see the Kelton Quick, Cade Corbin battling right in front of the 71, but they're going to settle out. Quick is able to defend that 10th place position. And Brendan Lyman, also someone who is getting, up through the field. He started in the back of the field today, and really him and Drew Williams are just kind of following each other, now battling each other for that 8th place position. You can see Drew Williams stuck on that inside a little further up here. And I thought Zach Tallman almost hit the back bumper of Cade Corbin, but mere inches away from the University of Alabama Huntsville machine.
He got right up there. Great run down the backstretch into 3 and was carrying all of that speed. Have to wonder if the 08 took the high side as well, if the 71 would have got off the throttle at all. I'm not convinced he would. He was committing to the full head of steam there. That's for 11th on the racetrack right now. We've got ourselves a little battle just ahead of him. Brennan Lyman to the inside of Connor Zabosian for that for the 7th position now. They're side by side trying to take that spot away. Oh, and there's Cade Corbin looking to the inside as well of Kelton Quick, not to be that time around. Some great battling between the 72 and 78, and then with the 08 and the 2. And this is the kind of point in the race, Brad. We're looking at the we're looking at the timing sheet. We're watching the action unfold on the racetrack here, and dare I say it, it looks like the field more or less has kind of single filed out, sans this battle here. Connor Bingle, who was just to the inside of Jack Wilson a moment ago. Now Logan McKim trying to capitalize back to the inside of the racetrack. This is a fun little battle going on here for the 24th or 23rd position on the racetrack.
No matter where you look, I mean, here tonight, all these drivers, battling it out. Everyone's not trying to stay single file. I mean, obviously, if you're further back in this field, it might be due to damage, or, you got some repairs done, and now you're trying to battle your way up through the field like Nick Stockner. And nonetheless, Connor Bingle, someone I think that we saw had damage earlier here today, able to fix it up and get that 68 moving now and trying to get past Jack Wilson. He's able to take that 23rd spot away. And now it looks like maybe a little bit of a battle back there of Logan McKim and Lee Winters.
Yeah, this is that battle unfolding on the racetrack. Bingle to the inside, trying to take away that spot from Jack Wilson, who hits the wall off of 2. The North Georgia car with a bit of damage. Bingle takes that spot. Here goes McKim to the inside in 3. And Jack Wilson going to run that middle lane, try to get some distance, try to get the wheels back under him as he tries to look for that run off of turn 4. He's side by side with McKim. Lee Winters side by side with Ethan Head just behind him.
Man, I mean, looking back here, this is almost, more fun. Well, one thing I wanted to note, I just looked at Clint Haldeman took that fastest lap away from Daniel Nanny. So the 100, he's proven to be pretty fast right now. But, you know, when you're looking up through this field, not too much is going on the track right now outside of this battle for the 8th place spot. These two not able to get away from each other, the Panhandle Machine of Brendan Lyman and Drew Williams, trying to, you know, figure it out for 8th still, as the 123 is going to roar through the outside, take that spot back from Brendan Lyman. Lyman, I don't think is going to be able to, well, he's not going to give up, as the 78 is going to try and reestablish himself and maybe keep himself away from Cade Corbin, who looks to the outside just for the moment, but Lyman able to power through, keep himself in front of the University of Alabama Huntsville Machine. And you can see all the different colleges here today on that scoreboard right now. And, you know, a lot of these we called out throughout the entire season here, Alex, but, you know, nonetheless, it's just still, I think, when you look back through the history of the CIL, we're still gaining more. Whoa, Wesley Shaw jumping in the frame there, but we're like gaining Infinity Stones here with all the colleges that add to the roster here.
Yeah, it really does feel like we continue to add more and more schools year after year, even week after week. I mean, before we started this week, I'm trying to see if I can pull up the list of all the schools we've ever had. I know that we have had about 28 different schools win a race here in the CIL. I think pulling up the amount of different schools would take a slightly longer period of time. But entering this season, I do believe we have had about 120-ish schools who have competed in a YumTwo College Cup Series race before. Some only, you know, making one start. Some, like Clemson and Ball State, making close to 400 by the time this season's said and done. So it's pretty cool.
And there's a lot of battling going on here. So, I mean,
yeah, producer Christian and I are trying to do the math on how many schools have competed there. Meanwhile, there's this great battle going on. I'm sorry about that, Brad.
No, I mean, these guys were just, I feel like they knew we were talking about something else and just wanted to bring the attention back to the racing, as Drew is able to power on through the 6th position now. I think I've seen the 72 hit the wall like 3 different times so far. And Connor Zabosian, you know, trying to just do what he can to keep it in 7th. Brendan Lyman's still there, but right now the big loser out of that whole exchange, Brandon Schollenberger, falling back to 8th right now, trying to stay in front of the Oklahoma Panhandle Machine. But for now, things settling right back out, and it looks like you can go back to looking at your stats, Alex, until these guys start fighting each other.
Well, maybe that was an omen that brought a good fortune of battling across the racetrack, but there are some battles to keep an eye on here. To jump a little further back, Cade Corbin and Kelton Quick, that battle's very unresolved right now for the 10th place position between the 2 and the 08. You see Corbin working the inside of the racetrack, Kelton Quick up there following the 78 through that middle groove. Oh, looks like Corbin's got it. Big slider coming off of turn 4. You'd think he'd be running the dirt ovals with a slider like that, but Cade Corbin puts the 08 now in the 10th. Quick gonna have to rally back here from the 11th spot. Man, that was a nifty pass there from the 08. And when these tires start to go, Brad, when you start putting some laps on them, that's the way you got to make a pass. Drive it in deep in 3 and 4 on the inside, and then find a way to slide up in front of and clear that car in front of you. It's easier said than done, but it's one of the only real effective ways to make a move once those tires start losing grip.
Yeah, and, you know, we saw a lot of the drivers when they're in the fresh set of tires that they're just, you know, spinning the heck out of that back end, just jumps out from under you. But like you said, Alex, once these tires wear, you kind of just have to let the car drive itself at a certain point. You know, you can't just throw it around the track willy-nilly like you used to 20 laps ago. And for a lot of these drivers, that's about the point where they're hitting here. They've already hit the drop-off of these tires, and now trying to just let them survive as we're coming up to about 5 to go with the at the halfway point. So, you know, a lot of good green flag stints for these drivers. I don't know exactly if they were expecting these long green flag stints comparative to Homestead, but nonetheless, I mean, a lot of these drivers benefiting from it. And one of them being Sean Campbell right now, sitting up in 4th. Drew Williams also right there, pushing his way through the field, and now made his way up to the top 5 as Jake Cummings has fallen back to 6th. And we were talking about those smaller groups, Alex, earlier, but right now, if you look from about 4th on, actually 5th to like 15th, it feels like they're all in this little group here.
Yeah, everything has in a way, kind of stacked up behind the 95 of Jake Cummings, who has Zabosian and company kind of on his heels here. Although he is not too far off from Drew Williams as well, who's about a half second in front of him. And this group kind of strings all the way back to Keaton Kalick, who's back in the, Keaton Kalick, sorry, who's back in that 14th spot. So there's a lot of positions to be gained and lost here, and this is really the test of who still has tires on the race car. As you see Corbin now taking a dive to the inside of Lyman for the 9th spot. He's going to, big move there for the 95. I don't know if that was intentional or not. He lost some track position, and now everything's stacked up. Zabosian's now clear. Cummings and Schulenberger side by side, sliding up the racetrack, blocking off Lyman. And here goes Corbin to the inside of the 78. Everyone throwing the car around from 7th on back.
I believe Jake Cummings hit the wall there coming out of 2, and that sent, he was just trying to get that car unstuck from the wall and just threw it into that inside line, and obviously that calamity all pretty much fizzled out as everyone going back to normal outside of Jake Cummings going in the 8th, but now Kelton Quick trying to jump on the opportunity of passing Cade Corbin for that 10th place position, trying to crack his way into the top 10, but Corbin has that run on that outside, and really the draft is well coming through turn 4, and that's going to get him ahead of the Ball State machine. Right behind them, Edward Sanchez, Edward Onofre, 2 fast drivers, and making it 3 wide on the Ball State machine, going through 1 and 2.
3 wide for the 11th position right now. Edward Sanchez maybe going to claim it. Cade Corbin trapped with nowhere to go. Kelton Quick nearly made contact there. Sanchez drives it way down to the apron. That car going to slide up a little bit just in front of the 2. Corbin with a run off of turn 4. Where does he go with it? He's going to stay in that middle groove. Boy, they are really duking it out right now. This is for 9th through 12th on the racetrack. Is the 95. Got a little tight on center entry there. Got a little slowed up. Cost of 26 a little bit of time. Here goes Corbin trying to capitalize on the high side. And just in front of them, Schulenberger just had to fend off a charge from Lyman as they're working past lap traffic. Wesley Shaw trying to figure out where to go. He's got nowhere to go. They're 3 wide, putting him another lap down.
Man, that was Cade Corbin leaning on Wesley Shaw to get out of turn 4. I saw Wesley get a little loose and thought that was the end of it, but now it's 3 wide yet again. Cade Corbin gets split in the middle, and he's going to lose 2 spots and almost goes up into Edward Sanchez. Sanchez actually has to put in the wall to save himself there, as now the 08 falls to the 12th position. These guys on these aged tires just doing what they can. Keegan Kalick also just moving his way through the field right now, passing Edwin Onofre and maybe Cade Corbin next.
Kalick to the outside of Corbin here down the front straightaway. Arguably some of the most... Oh, boy, Kalick hard into the wall going in the 1. Brad, dare I say, this might be some of the most entertaining racing we've seen for position this season, with how much these guys have been trading spots around. Now it's Kelton Quick holding on to the spot. Here goes Corbin to the inside. The battle for 11th right now. Just in front of him, Edward Sanchez to the outside of Jake Cummings for the 9th position. He might be able to get that spot here off of 4. Yes, he will. So the Baruch College car up to 9th. Quick's now up to 11th, trying to hold off Kalick and Corbin. Easier said than done as he plays defenses on both lanes. This is wild, and yellow's out here on lap number 70. It is Ryan Smith who is skittering through the infield in turn 2.
I think a lot of people were, maybe hoping for that caution. It's about, another 35 laps from the last time they've had their, the last restart. But we're going to look back and see what happened to the 82 now. And coming out of turn 2 there, you can see the 82... I don't know. Maybe some internal malfunction?
I almost wonder if that's an equipment issue, because that car just stopped moving. We'll take one more look. Oh boy, that was dangerous trying to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. Take one more look here on board with Ryan Smith. We'll see if we can figure out exactly what happened here to the 82. You can see, the whole thing throttles down here. And that wheel isn't moving. I almost wonder if his equipment may have just disconnected for a second. And this pauses him rehooking it up. And when he does, he tries getting off the racetrack. And I think that was that Nick Stockner in the 124 who just went flying on by.
And I mean, if he just got put a lap down from that as well, he gets the free pass. But also, if he would have got collected there or even taken any damage, he wouldn't have got that free pass. So, an important block for the 124. We're going to ride on board. And you can see for the most part, not really expecting much of anything.
Yeah, you don't even see him there. And they're, I mean, they're still going at the better part of about 100 and I'd say about 55 going into the corner there, even under braking. That's terrifying. But yeah, everyone down pit road right now. Stops underway for the second time. Car starting to get down to the way. Schulenberger looks like a quick stop here. Looks like he might gain a spot or two. It's Nanny, and then Halterman, Campbell, Newbingen, Zabosian. Schulenberger jumps up to sixth. Lyman, Sanchez, Quick, and Keegan Calick, your top 10, coming off of pit road here on lap 72 of 133. We're going to step aside once again for a brief moment here at the CIL. When we return, continued coverage of tonight's Wildcat Derby 200 from Kentucky. Back in just a moment.
When you're behind the wheel, you need precision, timing, and teamwork. Racing isn't a solo sport. You need your pit crew and your driver. Neither is cooking. That's why we built YumTwo. YumTwo is your cooking co-driver that lets you cook and find recipes that you'll both like with whatever preferences you have. No matter how hard or how easy it is to find recipes, we'll always have a recipe for you to pick. We're sponsoring the College Cup Series this season, but off the track, we want to sponsor your dinner. Get on the grid before launch and join the waitlist now at YumTwo.com.
Looking for a college where you can learn by doing? The University of Northwestern Ohio puts the wrench in your hand and your future in motion.
I would recommend UNOH to anybody who wants to excel in this industry.
With industry connections, cutting-edge equipment, and programs in automotive, diesel, high performance, robotics, and more, this is education that works.
You will come to this school and you will leave 10 times what you were when you came here.
Apply now at unoh.edu.
And we are back this time by. It'll be 60 laps to go from Kentucky. It is Daniel Lanny, Clint Halterman at the front of this field. Everybody on fresh tires, full up on fuel. Green flag back out in the air. And here goes Sean Campbell, going to lunge it in for second to the inside of Halterman in the one.
Campbell's going to get that pull through turn one on that inside line, but Clint Halterman right now going to power his way on the outside as Doug Newbigging trying to hold on to that fourth place position. We haven't talked about him too much during these green flag runs, but the 07 has definitely made his mark and has stayed in the top 5 all of today. And if you're Sean Campbell right now, you know, you're sitting pretty, trying to, you know, battle your way up through the field, sitting in third on the last step of the podium. But these top 2 are hard to get around here in Kentucky.
That's the thing, you know, and if you're Brandon Schulenberger, you're putting together a pretty solid day so far, running in that 7th spot coming into today as the points leader. The problem is the 2 guys who are only 6 points behind you are running 1st and 3rd right now. So if you're Schulenberger, you still need to dig, get a couple more spots here and really net that thing up at the front of the field. You see he's taking a look to the outside of Sanchez here off of 4. That's that battle for position number 6 on the racetrack, which would be a pivotal position for him to try to hold on to that points lead leaving here today, but easier said than done while Daniel Nanny's got the top spot and has been relatively unchallenged since the drop of the green flag. He won here last year, and with how good he's looked here tonight, Brad, it's not a surprise to imagine how he got it done last year.
And I don't know how dominant he was last year, but he might have taken it up enough. Obviously, leading every lap is definitely, the maximum you can really do here in Kentucky. But, nonetheless, if you're Brandon Schullenberger, you still got 3 more races, but you want to try and eliminate any type of, advantage that Daniel Nanny will get in this race or any of the upcoming races, along with Sean Campbell. You can't forget about the 9. And, those 3 doing what they need to do to get as many points as possible, but nonetheless, that 30 is on rails and ready to go. There's a good bit of cars back there, including Edwin Onofre trying to battle through all of these guys here.
It's funny, I looked it up. I thought he had been up there more last year. He only led 29 of the 137 laps last year because I believe we went to CIL overtime at that one. But he did qualify second and ended up first after leading those 29 laps. So he got it done. The most laps led of any driver, though, actually would belong to the 95 of Jake Cummings. And then the with 40 laps is the 7 of Brandon Schullenberger. So a couple of interesting parallels to draw here as the 7 still working his way forward, just maybe not at the rate he's been trying to go here today. He's up to 6th now. It's about as high as he's run all day long. We're starting to see a little bit of a train here developing behind the 29 of Keegan Kallick as well, who's looking for his 2nd podium of the season. He finished 3rd at Pocono a few weeks ago. Looking for another stop here in the top 3 spots. And Kelton Quick sideways coming off of turn 4. The 2 going through the infield. Looks like we're going to stay green, but he's going to lose all that track position as now Edward Sanchez is around in 1 and 2.
It's Austin DeLong also that's Nick Henley also involved there.
And I think Madison Ulrich got a piece. Same with Austin DeLong, to your point. Multi-car collision here on lap 80. Going to bring out the yellow for the 6th time this evening.
And a lot to unpack here, but looks like we're going to start with Kelton Quick from what I am hearing right now. Looking back at the UNOH replay, you can see the 2 gets loose coming out of turn 4. This is that initial incident we were talking about, and everyone doing a great job of taking evasive maneuvers around Kelton Quick. Kelton, relatively unscathed, just some scuffed tires. But Alex, what else happened here? I think Nick Henley started that whole well.
On board here with the 123 Drew Williams. You see how quickly he had to dive to the bottom of the racetrack, duck. Try saying duck and dive, and that's a tough break. That's at the caution we were just making fun of an earlier pronunciation issue, and here we are. But anyways, we're gonna just keep on rolling. So Clemson's off to a bad night here as far as us pronouncing things up here in the booth. So apologies to the folks at home for that one. But here's Edward Sanchez, and this starts only a little bit bad and just continues to snowball and getting worse. Looked like he got a little bit loose, then got a little bit of net code, and then just got absolutely smashed into that outside wall. An additional contact after he was already going. Let's take another look at that, man. That's a wild ride for Sanchez.
I feel like this whole season he's just been a part of some gnarly wrecks whenever he's battling up through the field. We're going to ride here with the 64 of Nick Henley. And nonetheless, your Ball State, you got that. Oh, geez. He was taking evasive maneuvers initially to, try and battle his way on through into the tri-oval. But that wasn't the hard part for the 64s. You see him battling with Jake Cummings. Cummings back there from all that damage earlier in that last stint. And you could see just a pile drive right there into Edward Sanchez. And that car is all but toast.
Brutal impact for the 64 of Nick Henley. You see Madison Ulrich sliding down to the inside retaining wall as well. That's a pretty big crash there as far as Kentucky is concerned. Take one more look here on board with the 48. Coming off the corner. And yeah, it looks like the 48 just lost it trying to avoid the initial incident. Just a light tap of the inside wall. Could have been a lot worse for the Otterbein machine. But with that, we're just over 50 laps to go in this one, Brad. And, you know, we've seen a lot of action all throughout the field. The one place we really haven't seen any battling tonight is for that top spot. No one has had an answer for the 30 of Daniel Nenny. Do you think anyone's going to at the rate we're going? Because anytime we've had one of these restarts, he's had such a good launch. He's like 3-4 car lengths ahead before they even hit the middle of the corner.
And he's able to just keep it out in front. I mean, not even tire wear really lets anyone get close to Daniel Nenny. But, you know, Sean Campbell has tried to get there, but really Clint Halterman has been locking that second place down since he's got there. I know Doug Dubinging was also up there, but, you know, these two on the front row consistently, I believe, for about 5 restarts now. I think this is more of a testament to how Clint is able to hold that outside line in that second place position. But obviously he hasn't had too much for the 30 as he's been that, you know, that car that's been there for all the race, but not fast enough to get past the 30 as of now. But we'll see what these final 50 laps have in store.
Nanny and Halterman on the front row, Newbinging and Campbell in row 2, Zabosian and Schulenberger now row 3, with Keaton Kallick, Brennan Lyman, Edwin Onofre, and I believe that's Ben Neller rounding out your top 10. Skozen and Tallman just behind them. Do you see, I think that's Nick Stockner parked at the apron of 3 and 4. Not sure what's going on there, but we are getting ready to go green. And the green flag is out. Here we go into turn 1. Sounds like the 124 had an end of line, so he jumped in at the tail end of the field. Good launch here for the 30 of Nanny. Campbell to the inside of Halterman off of turn 2. That battle resumes once again as more cars side by side down the back straightaway.
And Halterman yet again, he's able to just send it in there into 3 and 4 and gets a heck of a gap back to the 9 now. I think the 9 might have backed out a little bit too much going into 3 and 4. And Doug Newbigging from King's College all up on the back bumper of Sean Campbell, and he's now going to look to the inside of the 9 as Sean taking that ultra high line. He's going to have a heck of a run coming out of 2 right here, but the King's College machine maybe going to try and do a little bit of a side draft, but jump back in line as you know, the UNC Greensboro machine is able to just power on through yet again. Looking back here further on back, a battle for 10th, and that is Ben Neller and Tyler Skozen with Drew Williams also joining the picture. You also see Zach Tallman, Miguel Carrera, I believe, back there as well. And, you know, this is just the usual group, it seems like, for these past 20 laps or so. Just these guys trading positions, trading blows. As you see the 28 and 79, you can't even fit a piece of paper between the two. It seems like the two of them are leaning on each other. But Drew Williams is going to try and push the 79 on by, so he has some room to maybe make up some positions. And then you see Ben Neller able to get on by and Drew Williams chomping at the bit.
Yeah, good little battle happening here for the 10th position. Neller's got it for now. It's been a tough season so far for the 79. He's put together a really strong run so far here today. He's trying to hold off Tyler Skozen, and he's sideways off of turn 2. And he saves it off the wall. But that was either the 3rd or 4th one we've caught in real time here. And watching it as it happened, I'm also going to say I may have just absolutely jinxed Ben Neller there. I was just saying it's been a tough season for the 79, and I couldn't even finish the sentence before he is sideways off the nose of Tyler Skozen there. Take another look at it. They were running each other so tight in the turn 1, and they just eventually ran out of room. I think the big thing is that the 28's coming up off the apron just a little bit, maybe more than the 79 was anticipating, and the 28, because he wasn't down on the apron. I'm curious to see what the stewards decide to do with this one, Brad, because, you know, the 79 had position, and the 28 looks like he washed up the racetrack a little bit. That might actually, that might fall as a penalty here for the UNOH machine.
Let's see what the stewards decide. And I think Logan McKim had I believe that was Logan McKim. It was a St. Clair machine nonetheless. I don't know if it's Keegan Kellick or not, but one of them had their life flash before their eyes as it looked like Ben Neller just spun around right in front of him. But nonetheless, able to save it. That is also Ben Neller, saving that car from going into the outside wall that was so easily a target for a lot of these drivers that were involved in all these incidents earlier. So kudos to the 72 as everyone sent it down pit road. Oh, actually faking me out too.
Aggressive fake from Doug Newbinging. I mean, he did everything but hit the commitment code in there. Campbell and Nanny did make their stop. Halterman and Newbinging stayed out, as did Zabosian. So this is an interesting shuffle now. For the first time tonight, we're going to have a restart where the 30 isn't starting at the front. Brings it down pit road. Not everybody did. They'll be on 17-lap fresher tires when they get back out there. Looks like it'll be a 4-tire stop for the 30. Should provide a big advantage on the racetrack, but also you get stuck in the depths of the field here, Brad. And if this season has taught us anything, that is never a guarantee that you're going to work your way back to the front.
I know we've seen a couple of guys do that so far here tonight, but like you said, Alex, it's just so especially with these cautions happening, you just at some point just have to be on your toes, ready for really anything to happen here. And looking at the last pit stops for pretty much everyone, back to Daniel Nanny in this top 16, you got 17 laps on these tires, unless you're Madison Ulrich or Jake Cummings, where you got a little bit fresher tires. But nonetheless, I mean, for a lot of these drivers, if this thing goes green, they could be in some trouble from these guys that just pitted. But ultimately, this is also another, a whole different mindset in the YumTwo College Cup Series, pit strategy. When do you pit? Under all of these, if you have a ton of cautions, when's the right time to pit? And also, if, we have one or two cautions during the race, when do you do those green flag stops as well? We won't get any green flag stops for the rest of this race, but a lot of these drivers trying to just figure out, is this the right time to pit? And I think for pretty much everyone, Daniel Nanny on back, that is the curtain call. That is what you're thinking, if this goes green, I'm set for the rest of the race.
Yeah, 100%. I was doing some math. I was looking at some lap times when you were talking there, Brad, about as far as how much tire fall off could we expect. And the example I was looking at was Doug Newbinging, a car that has maybe not had the race winning pace here tonight, but has been in the top 5 basically all evening long. So it's a good reference point on what speed looks like at the front of the field. And over that about 35 lap stint that we had earlier in this race, from about lap 35 or so to lap 70, that tire fall off as far as time on the racetrack was only about 6-7 tenths of a second, which does add up after a while if you're running that many laps. But it does not fall off as aggressively as I thought it might be. So while Nanny and Campbell are going to be in good shape here on those fresher tires, it may still take them a second to actually, get up there and clear some of these guys on older tires, even if this thing does go green for a long distance. Curious to see, but for the first time tonight, we have a different car leading this restart. Clinton Halterman, now the control car, with Zabosian, Newbinging, Lyman, Calick, and Williams, your top 6. As the pace car heads off back down pit road, it'll be lap 91. This time by Barney, puts that green flag back out. We are racing once again, and cars immediately jump to make it 3 wide deeper in the field. I think that's Sean Campbell.
Yeah, when you get further on back, you have a lot of stack up. But looking back further up in the field here, Brennan Lyman trying to take it to the inside of Connor Zabosian. Zabosian we've seen up here all day. Lyman, we've seen him in around that 10th place position. So, Sean Campbell around.
Contact with Logan McKim. Oh, and more cars. I think Daniel Nanny got caught up in this as well. Both of them. Jack Wilson, Kelton Quick, the 30 of Daniel Nanny, who had led the better part of 80-some laps here today, gets caught up trying to avoid this. He was 4 wide coming off the corner. And as he dove to avoid, got contact with Carter Capini into the outside wall, goes the 30, and then more contact with the 48 of Ulrich. Just like that, 2 of the title contenders who both came down pit road on fresh tires with damage on lap 92.
And it's kind of hitting on that point where anything can happen when you get further back in the field. And you can see lining up side by side along with, well, pretty much the top 4 are right there. They're all in a little square there.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Onofre and Schollenberger are right there, too. But nonetheless, we saw Sean Campbell take that jump to the outside, trying to use anything he could to get ahead of his competitors. And obviously, with these fresh tires, you can just see how much they can just gain on these drivers in front, especially with these guys on a little bit older tires. They can't push the car as much as, Logan McKim gets up into the 9 and sends a chain reaction. Daniel Nanny gets a little bit tagged there, sends him into the outside wall. Edwin Onofre around, Kelton Quick, Jack Wilson, Wesley Shaw, I think, got out of it unscathed, but all
Edwin
of these
Onofre, too, into the infield grass. That's 3/4 of the top 4 in the points. Makes me wonder if all of them were in there, for Schollenberger got a massive break there. Take another look at this. This is Kelton Quick. It does look like the 7 of Schollenberger was the only car of those top 4 guys in points we were seeing earlier who got through that unscathed. And it's not often that avoiding a wreck pays massive dividends like this, but for Schollenberger, with the top 3 guys in points behind him all getting caught up in that could be a huge break for the Wingate machine, who has not had the race-winning pace here tonight.
And you can see just a tiny touch there, Carter Copini. And, Matt, I think that's...
That's Madison Ulrich.
That
heavy contact with Nanny.
Definitely going to take a hit in his chances. I mean, it happens in real life too, where you lead a lot of the race, and obviously sometimes one pit stop is all it takes for your hopes to go down the drain. So Daniel Nanny, and really, if you're not Brandon Schollenberger, anyone that's running in that top 5 in points, their hopes go down the drain a little bit here with some of the damage. But those at the front still have not pit. Everyone's staying out. As you see Clint Halterman and now Doug Newbigging taking that front row stance as they're going to come around one more time to the green flag. And Alex, with that all being said, looking at this updated top 10, is there anyone here that you're seeing a name or anything like that that you see might be able to take that top spot away from Clint?
It's tough to gauge because we've seen Newbigging and Zabosian kind of in the top 10 all day, and they've been fast. Maybe not fast enough compared to Clint, who's been kind of the second fastest car on the racetrack most of the day, except for Nanny. That being said, Drew Williams has been fighting an uphill battle basically since the drop of the green flag for track position. This is as high as he's run all evening long. Curious to see if the 123 is something under the hood that we may not have been able to see when he's been further back in traffic. We also have a couple of new guys in this top group who we haven't talked about a ton tonight. Zach Tallman, in a race sponsored by the Penn College of Technology. He's running in the top 8 right now. It's been a great drive so far for the 71. You can say the same as well for the 77 of Miguel Carrera, the Houston downtown machine. Started 24th. He's now up to 10th. And how about Carter Capini? He's back in 12th, but he started 37th. He's up 25 positions for Paul Smith's College.
We're going to try this one more time. Pace car brings it back down pit road. Clint Halterman, Doug Newbigging leading the field to the restart zone. See if anyone has anything for the UNC Charlotte machine as we come to the restart zone. Green flag waves yet again here in Kentucky, and Clint Halterman gets another great jump.
Here they go in the turn 1. Oh, that was dicey for a second. Everyone's sorting it out. Newbigging and Zabosian. Oh, a little bit of contact off of 2. And more shuffling back there. That was a big move from the 29 of Calic. Jake Cummings goes right along with them as they both clear Tyler Skozen. Boy, everyone throwing the elbows out here with under 40 to go. They know it is time to get moving here at Kentucky. 3 wide down the front straightaway. More positions up for grab in the turn 1.
You think these guys would be on the fresh tires, but they are not. I mean, these are still all the drivers that are on those tenured tires. And nonetheless, it looks like these guys just throwing it around the track. as it looks like now Keegan Calick and Tyler Skozen battling it out here for the 7th place position. The 29 on the outside with Zach Tallman right behind them, trying to figure out which car to go with, as both of them really die out. None of them having momentum through the tri-oval here. And, if you're one of these two, obviously you got everyone else out in front, but you could see Tyler Skozen getting a heck of a jump down, and he might be able to slide up in front of the St. Clair machine. And now everyone getting into the wall a little bit there. It looks like a couple cars might have bounced off it a little bit, but now we got a battle for 5th and 3rd potentially.
Trying to sort this out right now. Battle for 3rd is Brennan Lyman, Drew Williams. Battle for 5th, Zabosian and Cummings. 2 by 2, they march in the turn 1 at speeds of close to 182 miles an hour. Trying to sort this thing out so they can try to get a run at Newbingen and Halterman. Easier said than done, though, as they continue to be side by side. You can add Skozen and Calick to the mix there, folks who are doubled up in this top 10. You can see him just behind there. Now looks like Zabosian thinks about maybe making it 3 wide. Follows Drew Williams up the hill. Great run for the 72. Got to get clear of the 95. He's going to be in this battle now with Lyman for 4th.
Man, oh man, I'm still no one really willing to give an inch here. Coming to lap 100 in the race, both Drew Williams and Zabosian hitting the wall there. I think that might have been a little bit of follow the leaders. Jake Cummings, I feel like that's the 3rd time we've seen him almost push it 3 wide on the bottom going into 3 and 4, but 95 unable to stick his nose in there, and he's going to have to stay complacent with that 6th place, as these two are still battling it out for 4th, as Brendan Lyman and Connor Zabosian basically nose-to-nose coming through the tri-oval. The 78 Panhandle machine has that bottom lane. He's going to push it a little bit in front of Connor Zabosian, but Zabosian going to be able to power it on that outside line, push it down the backstretch, and really, these two trying to figure it out, as, the tires where you're going to want to run your line, but when you're side-by-side like this for laps on laps, the tire wear can get a little crazy, as it almost got 3 wide behind them.
Yes, Skozen and Calick almost got together off of 4. Side by side they go once again. They've also got Brandon Schulenberger just behind him, who's worked his way up to 9th. He is on 17-lap fresher tires. You wouldn't necessarily think it, though, because he's not flying through this field necessarily. He is running a little bit faster and applying some pressure to the 28 and the 29. Now thinking about maybe making it 3 wide here off of turn 4. Let's see how this one works as they all come up off the corner. Looks like they're good for now. Still going to be 3 wide across the stripe. The 7 on those fresher tires trying to make something happen and just has nowhere to go. Not going to be able to clear the 29 yet. Skozen has the edge just for now. What a dogfight here, especially given the fact that Schulenberger's on significantly fresher tires.
Those guys gave each other enough room that they almost had their own 2 or 3 lanes away from each other, and now it fizzled out as Calick is going to end up losing a couple positions and maybe a 3rd to Ben Neller, who is right there to chomp at the bit, pushing himself to the inside there, able to actually clear the 29 now, coming through 1 and 2, and able to slide up just in front of the 29. The 29 gives them a little bit of a bump coming down the backstretch, and almost going into turn 3 as well.
Don't look now, but just behind this scene as well, working his way back at a full head of steam. Now that he's back in the mix here is Nick Stockner, who's gone from the end of the field up to 16th now as he goes in the one. Oh, contact with Carter Campini, and he's in the wall. Oh, hard contact for Stockner. Well, that's the 2nd time tonight I've tried shouting out a driver and things have come unglued before I finish the sentence. Nick Stockner was on a march to the front, and him and Carter Capini get tangled up going into turn 1. And, the first incident there for the 124 may not end the night. That one just might.
Yeah, I don't even know if he can drive that thing straight. He's leaning on the wall, but we're going to take a look back. We watched it yet again live on the cam, and him and Carter Capini going at it through the tri-oval, and I think 2 cars battling for the same little bit of real estate. I think Capini might have thought Stockner was going to end up at the wall a little bit sooner than what he was, but nonetheless, the 2 get together, sends the 124 and 14 around. The 124 with pretty heavy damage. That's going to end the Clemson Machines night, and I think along with Carter Copini's night.
It's also just receiving word that after the damage from the previous caution, Daniel Nanny has gotten out of the race car. He is officially out in that 30 for Ball State. He is going to be scored, I believe, 28th here tonight. But huge potential ramifications here in the point standings as Schulenberger runs 7th and Sean Campbell currently scored in the 12th position.
Actually, right now, I mean, we got those drivers who stayed out coming down pit road.
Yeah, a whole lot of folks coming down pit road. Curious. It looks like there are a couple cars who are staying out. Not too many, though. Big final stop opportunity for just about the entire field. So they all make their way into their box. Can't afford any mistakes here.
Anywhere you look, I think everyone taking 4 tires here as it looks for the moment. Brendan Lyman out and away, far ahead.
Good stop for Doug Newbinging.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyman out second. Maybe a couple 2-tire calls from the 07 and the 78. Big opportunity on some track position here, Brad.
And that's what you got to do. You know, that is the call sometimes. If you want to get up through the field real easy, you don't want to, you know, waste your time battling these guys on track. Might as well just take 2. And we saw Braden Schulenberger had those 4 fresh tires. 17 laps is a pretty good gap, especially with a hot track. So, you know, if Braden Schulenberger and some of these other drivers that were further on back, you know, it's not as easy to get around these cars. You might as well try 2 tires, see how it goes. And as we have coming to 26 to go in the race, you know, it might be, you know, the call later on.
So here we sit with about 25 laps to go. 4 drivers stayed out. Sean Campbell, Josh Camphor, Lee Winters, Logan McKim on 13-lap-old tires. And then it's Newbinging, Lyman, Halterman, Williams, Zabosian, and Cummings, your top 10. Of that group, notably Newbinging and Lyman on a 2-tire call. Everyone I listed after that on 4 tires. So a lot of varying strategy in this top 10, Brad, and very notably a couple of cars who we have not seen at the front here much tonight back up there now with Camphor, McKim, and Winters. How is that going to play a factor on this restart?
Calamity. I mean, you know, even though we were talking about how, you know, the tire gap wasn't that crazy, unless you're Sean Campbell, a lot of these other guys haven't been up, you know, here too long this race, if at all. So just trying to battle these new tires along with just the calamity that are these restarts at times is going to be a lot to handle, I think, for, you know, like Lee Winters, Josh Camphor, Logan McKim, and, you know, that is just looking down the mouth of a shark at a certain point.
Well, here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. 4 cars on 14-lap-old tires. A couple of cars on a 2-tire call, and then everyone else basically in the field on 4 fresh ones. We have 23 cars still on the lead lap, still about 27 or so running in this race from the 38 we started with. Going on to lap 108, 26 laps to go. This time by it's Sean Campbell who's going to lead them to green.
That might have been the biggest jump all night. We're 3 wide for second place. Oh, as I look at him around. Brendan Lyman.
Brendan Lyman and Logan McKim, the yellow back out. And, you know, I hate to say that I never want to say that you could see that coming, but with 4 cars we hadn't seen up front tonight on old tires, with everyone going for it on this restart, trying to get track position, I can't say I'm shocked that a couple of folks came together. Little surprised it was up at the high end of the racetrack. Usually it's folks diving down for the apron. But Logan McKim gets in there with Brendan Lyman, brings out, I believe, caution 11 on the evening.
Taking a look back here at the replay you can see that outside line just got stacked up immediately. Brendan Lyman jumps it to the outside there to maybe get some momentum, and I don't think the call came into the 10 there that, or well, maybe just didn't think that, you know, there was more room than actually what there was, as Brendan Lyman just sends the 10 around. Minor caution there, but obviously if you're the 10, definitely not what you wanted to see from that strategy call. I mean, McKim has been through also a lot tonight. I mean, I feel like a lot of these drivers, you know, that might have been part of that call outside of Josh Camphor were involved at something, within something at this point in the race. And nonetheless, I think all of the drivers right now, I'm going to take a look, but I believe all drivers outside of Sean Campbell brought it down pit road that time by, including some others that are coming down for maybe some either fresh tires or damages, but nonetheless, it looks like Josh Camphor actually stayed out. So Sean Campbell, Josh Camphor staying out with those 17-lap old tires, but pretty much everyone else got 4-lap old tires on their race machine. So you can see Wesley Shaw riding on board there, actually. Don't know exactly if he's excited to be sitting in pit road, but nonetheless, just, you know, the 73 involved in some incidents here tonight, but nonetheless, you know, trying to get some damages back on that car.
Yeah, repairs underway right now for that Cyber Eagle number 73. When they get going, it's going to be about, say, 23, 24 laps in this race. And it's getting interesting. With Sean Campbell still at the front, he got a good launch. And it's, you know, those old tires, though, we saw for McKim, we saw for Winters, really did not pan out. Camphor and Campbell, though, on that front row, seemed to work out fairly well, so super curious to see if they're able to do it again here, especially now with only fresh tires on their back bumper.
And, you know, there's complete strategy call of Josh Camphor starting in 31st here tonight. Got that KSU machine all the way up to second now. And again, like we said, you know, staring down the barrel of a gun here with all these fresh tires behind them. 2 tires or 4 tires, nonetheless, they're all fresh pretty much. And Sean Campbell, I also threw some race chatter, and I think on the stream as well, he doesn't have any more sets of tires. He used them all already, so he's kind of forced to run this strategy to get these final 22 laps out of Kentucky and maybe end up with a win if he can make them last.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to find yourself in, especially with the amount of sets over the wall they have, but he needed it after that hit into the wall about 20 laps ago to repair, put some fresh tires that weren't flat spotted on it. Took him a little off cycle, though. And now we find ourselves here. Sean Campbell out of tires with 23 laps to go. He's on the oldest tires in the field right now, him and Camphor. Just a question of how much can he hold on. The other cars fighting him in the standings, we already know Nanny's out of this race. Schulenberger's 7th, and Edwin Onofre currently scored in the 13th position. So he's got good positioning if he can hold on for the next laps. And we know his tire management's good, but it's going to have to be a masterclass if he's going to try to find victory lane. Pace car peels off down pit road. Sean Campbell, Josh Camphor, the front row. Into the restart zone they go once again onto the loud pedal. Here we go, racing to turn 1. Looks like a pretty clean restart up at the front. Everybody going to start slicing and dicing going into turn 1.
Doug Newbinging and pretty much everyone else is going to try and see if they can get around Josh Camphor as fast as they can. So we have 3 wide for third. Clint Halteman in the middle, Connor Zabosian and Josh Camphor on the outside. Camphor able to get that momentum coming down the backstretch and hold on to third for now, but we're still 3 wide as Drew Williams is maybe looking at that gap, and right now
battle for the lead as well. Oh, Halter around just as Newbingen got to the back bumper of Campbell. Not going to matter now, though. The yellow is out.
I think we might be, we're not doing a commentator's curse. I feel like we're just doing, like, anytime we're watching someone and start talking, it might, they have like a 25% chance of just spontaneously combusting.
Clinton Halterman after Daniel Nanny DNF'd from this race. You got to imagine that Halterman was one of the favorites to go out there and get the win, given that he'd run second most of the day. That now might be in smoke for the UNC Charlotte car. Take a look at the replay. They were 4 wide almost coming off the corner here. Settles back to 3, and yeah, Clint just lost it. Got back to the throttle a little too fast, I think. The back end got unstable. Contact there with Zabosian, who goes for a wild ride, and as Halterman slides back up to the racetrack, right there into the outside wall, right at the stripe. That's a tough break for Clinton. Once again, cycles this field in a weird way with now less than 20 laps to go from Kentucky.
And you know who's loving to see this is Sean Campbell. I mean, the more caution
100%.
laps he gets, the better his tires are going to be. And now, you know, with Josh Camphor being off that front row, he's going to have to actually try and hold off who's over to the outside, and that's going to be Doug Newbanging this time by. But Josh Camphor's right behind Sean Campbell, and nonetheless, you know, he's around. He's there to, you know, help him out. Camphor, nonetheless, you know, keeping up the speed, staying up there for now for KSU. But, you know, if you're Sean Campbell, you might be just trying to figure it out. You know, you're sending a Hail Mary at this point with no more tire sets. So he's just going to try and get the biggest jump possible, I think, at this point. And if you're that car on the outside, you got to just expect him to be shot out of a cannon at this point for when he gets in the restart zone.
100%. And the thing that keeps catching my eye here, Brad, so Sean Campbell restarts first on the inside on old tires. Josh Camphor lines up second on the inside on old tires. The first guy on fresher tires after those two is Brandon Schulenberger, the guy who Campbell's battling with in the points right now. Up to 5th, has fresh tires, feels like things should be going his way here. However, because he's restarting behind the both of them, and because he's restarting on the inside, it's so much harder to make a move before turn 1 on the inside here versus the outside. Schulenberger actually might be in a bad spot here, kind of trapped almost behind Campbell and Camphor if Newbanging and Drew Williams are able to get up the speed on the outside here. This is going to be a really interesting restart because I think a lot of Brandon Schulenberger's fate here tonight is going to be dictated on whether or not the 082 or the 9 spins the tires or not.
Yeah, and I think tonight, really, for the outside of Darlington, for the rest of this season, there's 3 tracks I can think of that, you know, we got Kentucky now, where we've seen that outside line. You can pretty much use a ton of that track if your line gets bottled up, but that inside line is kind of just stuck there. As you see the live update of the standings right now. Well, actually, that's before the race, not currently live, but nonetheless, the gap for still a 6-point gap. I think right now, as it stands, if Brandon Schulenberger doesn't lead a lap, that means if everything were to stand right now, I believe they'd be tied for the points lead. But back to my original point, I mean, you got Kansas, I believe, later on in the season. Darlington, you can't really sprawl out too much, but you know, you have these tracks where the outside line can spread out, but the inside line, like you said, Alex, if you have some older tires or just a checkup in general, you can't go anywhere. That apron is a little slippery at times. You can't, you know, when we looked at Phoenix this past week for all the championship races in real life, you know, they were going 7 wide because they had the dog leg and the apron to play with. But here in Kentucky, you don't have much of anything you can go to if you're on that inside line.
Now, and like we saw Sean Campbell make a move before the start-finish line to the outside of the cars in front of him when he was on those fresh tires a while ago. You can make a move to the outside of a car in front of you as you're making your way to the stripe. You can't make a move to the inside of you. And with those cars, you know, with the lined up as close as they are, there's not going to be any room to make a move to the high side if you're Schulenberger. So kind of trapped and just hoping that those two get going right now if you're the 7. But we're going to find out how that works out right now. Pace car peels off down pit road. It'll be lap 117, this time by Sean Campbell. Doug Newbanging on the front row. Restart underway. We are green once again. Oh, and everyone's wrecking from the front. Doug Newbanging hard into the wall, and the yellow's out from the front row. We were spending all that about with the guys on the older tires. Guess we forgot to consider the fact that Doug Newbinging on 2 tires, those left sides were just as cooked as the folks who were staying out on the older tires.
That happened so quickly, I didn't even have a second to think what even happened there. But yeah, like you said, Alex, I didn't think that 2-tire call would be a detriment, but that might have been the hook, the dagger there for Doug Newbinging, and unfortunately Drew Williams as well, who was having a heck of a day driving up and down through this field. We're going to take a look back at the replay. That outside line that we talked up so much about, you can see Drew got stacked up there, and pretty much Newbinging, I think he spun the tires and just shot those 2 up into the outside wall. Luckily, no one else got involved there. Lee Winters braking enough to not be involved.
The 07 might have been a little out of sequence because just before he was going to hit the throttle, he gets this shot here from the 123. You can't pass someone before the start-finish line on the front row. You can't pass the leader before the start-finish line, I should stress. So if that shot had propelled him out in front of him, may have been a black flag, but I think in the efforts to try to keep that thing under control after that push, ends up losing control of it. Both him and the 123 end up in the fence, and Sean Campbell continues to bleed time off of the lap counter here without having, folks on those newer tires really be able to mount the charge. By the time this thing restarts, it'll be just over 10 to go, and, it still will be a tall order for him to go out there and win this thing, but it becomes significantly more feasible now to at least hold on to a strong finish because there's just not a whole lot of time left in this race. And I tell you what, don't look now, but the car on the freshest tires, the cars on fresh tires who are running at the front of the field right now, the 79 of Ben Neller for Ball State, looking for CIL victory number 1 here in that 79 machine. And we already jinxed him once tonight. We cut up there when he was in the top 10. We were mentioning that he was doing a great job and then got tangled up with Tyler Skozen. Skozen, to his credit, is also running in the 6th spot right now. But Ben Neller, the leader of the cars who are on 13-lap-old tires, Campbell and Camphor are on 26. The 082 continues to hold on up there. Same with Campbell. And then you have Jake Cummings behind Brandon Schulenberger. Those are 4th and 5th, the 7 and the 95, the former Wingate teammates. Skozen 6th, Tallman, Zabosian, Carrera, and Edwin Onofre, your top 10. And this is shaping up to be a wild finish at the rate we're going here, Brad, because every time we feel like we've got a handle of what's happening in this race, something out of nowhere happens and completely shakes this thing on its head.
And we've been talking about how, Sean Campbell has been loving all of these cautions. So is Josh Camphor. And those two, yet again, on the front row here. The old tire buddies back at it again.
So lights are off on the pace car. I want to take a second and remind you about the wonderful folks over at YumTwo. You can join the waitlist at YumTwo.com. That's YUMTWO. Together tastes better with YumTwo. And right now, these two cars, Josh Camphor, Sean Campbell, these guys are together in the fact they are on significantly older tires but continue to battle up here at the front, trying to hold on to this thing. And they've just put the lights back on the pace car. So when I thought we were going... Oh, Doug Newbinging is spinning at the back of the field. The 07's night goes from bad to worse, and I think he just got towed back to pit lane, Brad.
Yeah, you saw the smoke in the Oasis there, and that's the end of the night for the King's College machine. But let's take a look back here. Trying to catch back up to the field, I think might have been one of the reasons for extending the yellow here. And you could see the 07 obviously had that hard hit, and that front end just a little bit janky, but coming through turns 1 and 2 here, I mean, you can see that Monarch machine hits the apron a little bit. Oh, and checks up over correct. Oh my.
Yeah,
and sends it headlong in.
That's an incident that under green is a tough break. Under yellow, trying to catch up to the field simply is a brutal end to the night for Doug Newbing in what had been an absolutely stellar drive for the 07. He'd been in the top 5. He'd been running as high as second lap after lap here tonight. He is now out of the car. That thing is getting pulled behind the wall, and his day is over here in that 07. So a tough end to the day for the King's College car. Still have 20 cars scored on the lead lap. Still have about 24 scored on the racetrack. Everyone right now chasing Campbell and Kampfer. Schulenberger, Neller, Skozen, Cummings, Zabosian, Tallman, and Onofre Carrera, your top 10. When they finally take the green flag here, it's going to be about 12 laps to go. We'll be on lap 122 of 133. This is going to be a wild one.
Base car back down pit road yet again. We got Camper, Campbell, the two camps up front on old tires, trying to see what will work as we are going back to the restart zone. Green flag in hand, and Campbell gets a huge jump with Ben Neller right behind.
Camper had a little bit of a tough time getting going, but he's up to speed now in the 1-3 wide as Schulenberger shoots the gap to the middle. Got there just before Cummings did. The 95 was also eyeing that spot. Schulenberger loses it off a 2. He spins down to the inside, collects Edwin and Onofre, and the yellow is out. And just like this, and Tyler Skozen around in 3 and 4, and he's not the only one. Multiple cars wrecked there in the corner. Zach Tallman as well. That's a brutal break for the 71. He had such a good run going today. Boy, and we are back under yellow here. And, I mean, what we were saying earlier, Brad, just when we feel like we got a handle on what's going on, something happens and completely changes all of it.
Yet again, watch it right on the camera here. I mean, Brandon Schulenberger, we saw him shoot the gap, but just gets out of turn 2, gets a little loose, tries to save the car, and collects, gets a little bit of damage on pretty much everyone, including Edwin Onofre, who takes that hard hit on both sides of his car. Zach Tallman, like you said, got caught up in it as well with Tyler Skozen and Connor Zabosian hard hit into the wall.
So the drivers who came into today first, fourth, and fifth in the points all got involved in that incident. Nanny, who was second, is already out of this race, and Sean Campbell, despite the fact that he has not had a spare set of tires for the past 30 laps and will continue to not have a spare set of tires, continues to sit in prime position to maybe be the big winner of all of them, despite the issues he's had here.
And, looking at this top 5 now, despite Sean Campbell being on those older tires, you just got to think, if we stay green, does anyone have anything for him? I mean, we've seen Ben Neller make some moves tonight, and I
was just going to say, the guy who led the most laps when we came here last year is the guy who's currently sitting in 4th.
Exactly.
Jake Cummings led 48 laps here a year ago. He has not been up in the top 5 much tonight. He's been in the top 10. However, with the 2 cars in front of him, of the 3 cars in front of him, 2 of them are on older tires. And Ben Neller, who's been wild fast here tonight, has not been in this position too often in his CIL career. Cummings has been in this spot quite a few more times, maybe a little bit more of a veteran experience, as it were, in this moment. I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, don't look now, but Clint Halterman is back up to 12th on only 5-lap-old tires here. That 100 may not be out of this thing when it's all said and done.
Trying to get a good point stay out of it, but this top 10 now, it's unrecognizable from really, if we look back 40 laps ago, because, I mean, someone like, Miguel Carrera, we haven't talked about him, I don't think, at all tonight, and he's up to 5th now. That University of Houston downtown machine making moves when it matters, and Kelton Quick, Connor Zabosian, we've talked about them fairly a lot. Connor Bingle now up to P8. Aaron Ramon had that incident earlier, if I can recall, now in the 9th position. And longtime YumTwo College Cup Series driver Ethan Head cracking the top 10 as it stands. And, there's a lot that's, a lot of variables, to say the least, Alex. I know we keep saying now that anything can really happen in these closing laps, but I think right now, Sean Campbell, literally, he could probably fall back into P8 and come out today at least with a ton of points on the rest of his competitors in the top 5.
And if you want to get a sense of how this race has been going for some folks, we should take a look back at a quick replay here of Lee Winters coming off of turn 4. The 37 and the 73 of Wesley Shaw got together here under pace laps, and the 37 actually almost ended up in the fence because of it. I think they were just trying to get slowed down to get caught up with the field, but just been one of those days here, especially on these restarts. The racing's been good. The restarts have been messy, to say the least. And we've got another one coming up here in just about half a lap. The lights are off. Campbell and Neller, Kampfer and Cummings, Carrera and Quick, your top 6, with Ramon, Bingle, Head, and Wilson currently scored in the top 10. Clint Halterman on some fresh tires sits 12th, and Zach Tallman, the freshest tires of anyone at the moment, who just came down pit road a minute ago, is in 16th right now. So the pace car peels off. We are going to have about 8 laps to go this time by. Campbell continues to try to hold on up front. He hits the restart zone. Decent launch. He's going to leave Neller and Cummings to battle it out behind Josh Kampfer.
That whole inside line gets checked up. As you can see now, Jake Cummings looking to the outside of Ben Neller, but Neller able to hold on to that second position. Josh Kampfer on that inside line is going to almost squeeze up there for 4th, but it looks like Kelton Quick is going to be able to keep it into the outside of the KSU machine. They're door-to-door coming into 3 and 4.
Here we go, off of turn 4. Sean Campbell has the edge. Ben Neller trying to track him down. Neller only has 1 top 5 in over 40 starts here in the YumTwo College Cup Series, trying to pull off what would be a miraculous win for Ball State. Jake Cummings trying to force the issue as well. Kelton Quick going to move on by for 4th. He's looking for win number 2 as Kampfer launched it in there in 3 and 4. The two are going to make contact. And here comes Clint Halterman.
Oh! Kelton Quick around.
And right into Miguel Carrera coming across the stripe. The yellows back out. More hard contact. Pinballing the entire field from about 4th on back. Kampfer's in it. Same with Kelton Quick, Miguel Carrera, and more. Oh, my goodness.
And just trying to think here. Might end up being an organic green-white checkered. We'll have to see, obviously, how that works out, or if we're going to end up in our only green-white checkered situation. But nonetheless, Josh Kampfer, he tried everything he could to stay up there in that top 5 with his older tires, and that'll, that decision also helped into this whole ordeal here coming out of 3 and 4. We're going to take a look back at the UNOH replay as Clint Halterman, he just shot out of a can and came out of nowhere, but Aaron Ramon looks like he gets the inside of Kelton Quick, hits the back of Josh Kampfer, and Kampfer goes around further up here, but just a pinball effect, like you said earlier, Alex, and a lot more get collected in this.
A hard hit with Sanchez, clips Ethan Head there. Wesley Shaw, Carter Capini, nowhere to go. And then Kampfer's in it with Carrera. Just a brutal thing. A tough break for Josh Kampfer, I know we've been focused a lot on Sean Campbell because he's in that title fight right now, but it's been a very, very valiant drive from the 082 as well. On board here with Brooks, Edwards, Sanchez, and you're going to see how close he gets to getting through this, and just not quite. Hard impact there with Kelton Quick, goes through the grass, tears the front end off it, and there's another guy who's top 10 in points who's had a rough day here today. That's the 26 of Edward Sanchez.
Now, I think we're going to get to about right. You can see Kelton Quick just gets all sorts out of whack, obviously, starting with Aaron Ramon getting a little too close to the back bumper, and just an absolute, oh my gosh, I was like just getting whipped around there on the front stretch, just getting thrown around like a cornhole bag.
Yeah, that was That was tough. That's that moment when you're playing pinball and it kind of gets stuck between the two bumpers and just starts ricocheting back and forth really fast because it hasn't slipped through back down to the bottom yet. That was brutal for Kelton Quick.
The thing I was going to touch on here, Alex, before real quick, I mean, there's only 13 cars on the lead lap now because of all this calamity happening here.
Yeah, it's been all of a sudden very much become a war of attrition here late. 13 cars on the lead lap, only about, say, 18 or 19 who are still on the racetrack, it feels like. Let me give you the rundown here, folks, of where we're at. Next time by, it'll be 3 laps to go. I do believe it is a naturally occurring green, white, checkered, so if there is a caution immediately, it will flag as one attempt at a green, white, checker, but we aren't there yet. Up at the front of the field, Sean Campbell, now 37 laps on these tires, continues to hold on in the top spot. To his outside, Ben Neller from Ball State on 24-lap old tires, 13 fresher than Campbell, sits to the outside of the front row looking for his first career win here in the YumTwo College Cup Series. And then in row 2, Jake Cummings, who led the most laps here a year ago, who's also on the same lap count as Neller as far as tires are concerned, and is restarting behind Campbell, so he'll get a pretty good launch to go side by side probably with the 79 on this. And then to the outside of them, Clint Halterman, who only has 12 laps on his tires, might be in prime position to steal it from all of them and get win number 2 on the year after winning the season opener at Michigan. Aaron Ramon, Connor Bingle, Lee Winters, Cade Corbin, Ethan Head, Carter Capini round out your top 10. Brandon Schulenberger, with some damage and fresh tires, is recycling back out in the 11th position here.
Crazy statement that Clint Halterman is just right up in it. He's
back, unbelievably. Brad, of those 4 names who we just mentioned, Campbell, Neller, Cummings, or Halterman, who would you want to be in this moment?
I would honestly want to probably be Clint, especially using that outside. Try to maybe get to the outside of Neller here on the restart, and then only Sean Campbell's in your way. I mean, Jake Cummings also is going to be fast on bottom line. And we'll have to see what happens here as the pace car back down pit road for this limited crowd now on the track. You got Sean Campbell, Ben Neller leading that field with Jake Cummings, Clint Halterman right behind to the green flag as Sean Campbell doesn't get that great of a jump.
No, he doesn't. Neller nearly got to the outside. He's right on his back bumper, though, going in the 1. 2 laps to go, side by side for third. Halterman upside of the 95 of Jake Cummings, but it's Sean Campbell who gets some separation from Neller. Neller tries to block. They're 3 wide in the 3.
Neller couldn't pick a lane, so both of them decided that they were going to pick another lane. And now Cummings sliding up against Neller, and those 2 door to door as Clint Halterman diving it down 3 wide for second. Sean Campbell's pulling away as we come to the white flag.
White flag is out, presented by the Naplin Logan Corporation. And here we go in the 1. Sean Campbell's got the edge. Here comes Clinton Halterman on the fresh tires. Over under from Cummings. He's back up to P number 2. He's looking for something. They're wrecking in the back. Schulenberger and Corbin's around. They're all chasing Sean Campbell, and somehow on those old tires, UNC Greensboro's Sean Campbell is going to get it done for win number 3. He goes back to back after winning at Martinsville last week.
The momentum keeps building for Sean Campbell in that UNC Greensboro machine. I mean, ever since Road Atlanta, that car has just been dominant for the second half of this YumTwo College Cup Series, and I think everyone else outside of them in the standings has been, just getting in some unfortunate incidents, and that's opening the door for the 9 right now. But Jake Cummings, Clint Halterman, some great drives yet again today here.
Campbell, Cummings, Halterman, your top 3. Ben Neller is going to have to settle for 4th, his second career top 5 finish here in the YumTwo College Cup Series. And Aaron Ramon, after an early spin, is going to have a massive rally back to finish 5th. So we'll be talking to our podium finishers here in just a second. Sean Campbell doing an extra lap so we can go and burn this thing down, and what will certainly be an opportunity here for the 9 to take control of the points leaving Kentucky after Daniel Nanny had an early DNF. Edwin Onofre finished 5 laps down here today in 16th, and Schulenberger caught in a white flag wreck. He'll score 12th here this evening. Sean Campbell going to actually just bring it down pit road, looks like.
And since he was out front, or early at the front of the pack the whole day, he didn't really get involved in anything. Might be the only car on track that still looks very shiny and not dented anywhere, really.
Yeah, he's kept a good handle of that race car, and I think all those cautions helped him have enough tire left on that thing, and he was able to make it happen, which was pretty wild for the 9. That's a fantastic job. You know, he had the restart when it mattered and was able to get it done. So when we're going to step aside for a quick second, when we come back, interviews with your podium finishers and tonight's final results from Kentucky. It's going to be a very fascinating conversation with our top 3 coming up just after this.
When you're behind the wheel, you need precision, timing, and teamwork. Racing isn't a solo sport. You need your pit crew and your driver. Neither is cooking. That's why we built YumTwo. YumTwo is your cooking co-driver that lets you cook and find recipes that you'll both like with whatever preferences you have. No matter how hard or how easy it is to find recipes, we'll always have a recipe for you to pick. We're sponsoring the College Cup Series this season, but off the track, we want to sponsor your dinner. Get on the grid before launch and join the waitlist now at YumTwo.com.
Looking for a college where you can learn by doing? The University of Northwestern Ohio puts the wrench in your hand and your future in motion.
I would recommend UNOH to anybody who wants to excel in this industry.
With industry connections, cutting-edge equipment, and programs in automotive, diesel, high performance, robotics, and more, this is education that works.
You will come to this school and you will leave 10 times what you were when you came here.
Apply now at unoh.edu.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, folks, welcome back after the shootout finish here at Kentucky. It has been an absolute wild one. And Sean Campbell, we'll be talking to him, Jake Cummings, and Clint Halterman in just a moment. Sean Campbell gets the job done, win number 3 of the year, 3 in the last 4 races for UNC Greensboro. Jake Cummings finishes second for Converse. Clint Halterman third for UNC Charlotte, with Ball State's Ben Neller, a great fourth-place run for him. Aaron Ramon finishes fifth for Texas A&M International. Lee Winters for Vincennes with a sixth-place finish. Connor Bingle for Alabama Huntsville in seventh. Tyler Skozen for the University of Northwestern Ohio finishes eighth, just ahead of Ethan Head for the University of Tennessee. And Connor Zaposian rallies to get Kettering a top 10 finish.
Looking at 11th, we have Paul Smits, Carter Copini, and in 12th, Brandon Schoenberger from Wingate. Cade Corbin from University of Alabama Huntsville is the last car in the lead lap in 13th. Madison Ulrich had a finish of 14th from Otterbein. Kelton Quick from Ball State finishes 15th. Edwin Nofre from the University of North Texas finishes 16th. Jack Wilson from North Georgia finishes 17th. Josh Camper on that incident late in the race finishes 18th. Zach Tallman from Penn College of Technology 19th. And Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M University Texarkana finishes 20th.
Looking a little further on back here, Miguel Carrera will finish 21st, Edward Sanchez 22nd, Doug Newbanging, strong day, early exit, finishes 23rd. Drew Williams will be 24th here for Clemson, and Brennan Lyman for Oklahoma Panhandle State in 25th. Pair of St. Clair cars, 26th and 27th between Kalick and McKim. Nick Stockner will finish 28th. Daniel Nanny, an early exit here, and definitely championship implications there, finishing 29th. And Austin DeLong will finish 30th for the Penn College of Technology.
And you can see some early exiters here in the race. Nick Henley, 31st. Ryan Smith in 32nd. Matthew Norberg from NC State in 33rd. Andrew Burrell in 34th. Brian Ferretta in 35th. In 36, it's Trey Lambrecht, a pair of New England College teammates in 37th, 38th of Robbie Hotchkiss and Riley Birkins. And starting your and ending your field here tonight is Aaron Brown from Eastern Shore.
Well, with that, that's going to bring us time to interview race winner here tonight. We're going to be joining here with Sean Campbell in just 1 second. Hey there, Sean. This is Alex and Brad up in the CIL booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
I tell you what, we heard the update from you around, say, lap 100 or so, where you were like, well, I'm out of tires. I guess I'm screwed. And then somehow proceeded to hold on to that thing for the next 40 laps, and we find ourselves here in victory lane for the third time this season. First and foremost, what was it like there, restart after restart, trying to get a good launch on tires that were getting increasingly more burnt out?
Yeah, that was my biggest concern, honestly. It was like I knew eventually, no matter what I did on the restart, I would be going down the grid effectively in my mind. So I just needed to get as good a restart as I could without spinning the rear tires up, because that happened to a lot of people seemingly, where the tires just kind of light up on the restart if you're a little too aggressive with them.
Yeah, it certainly saw that happen a couple times here tonight. Luckily, in your case, though, you were not one of them. And anytime you had a new challenger there in that closing stint, regardless of what they were on the same life of tires or slightly newer or significantly newer, you found a way to stay out front. And it did seem like you had a couple of cautions fall at the perfect time there for you. What was that like? Anytime seemed like the moment there was pressure at the door, everything had to get re-racked.
Yeah, I was kind of counting my lucky stars. I thought after MC Esports yesterday that my luck would probably have run out, and apparently now it's all run out. So next race I'll get like a meteor strike into my house or something mid-race.
Yeah, we'll hear a report that a power line fell and completely wiped out your rig or something like that.
Nuclear radiation or something.
Yeah, so absolutely absurd. Like a microwave exploded two houses down, and a piece of the little plate in there goes flying through the window.
The cosmic bit flip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, after tonight, just about everyone else you've been battling here in this title fight had a pretty rough night, all things considered, which should theoretically move you to the top of the standings coming out of tonight with only 3 races to go. We know you were saying a few weeks ago, it's like, it's just nice to kind of get back into the hunt a little bit. All of a sudden, you are very much in the prime spot here. Can you bring this thing home?
I don't know. I did say last time that I have this habit of throwing it away by 1 or 2 points because I play it a little too safe and then something happens and I'm not good enough to capitalize. But we'll see. I'm just going to... Ideally, I'll finish right behind whoever I need to finish right behind every single race, and then they shouldn't be able to catch me. But that's ideally, of course, right?
always the plan, and plans will tend to change from time to time. But excited to see what you bring to the table over these last 3 weeks here, Sean. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to shout out from Victory Lane?
I want to shout out you guys again for broadcasting it. It is thankless work, I think. It's thankless work a lot of the time, and you guys do a good job.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I tell you what, it's always a pleasure to have you up here, Sean. Congrats on the race win once again here tonight, and we will catch you next week at Darlington. It should be a fun challenge.
Ooh, Darlington's good.
Yeah, that it is. Congrats on the win, and we'll catch you there.
All right, thanks.
And that is your race winner here tonight, Sean Campbell from UNC Greensboro, who gets it done for win number 3 of the season. And now Brad is standing by, I believe, with our runner-up finisher here tonight, Jake Cummings.
I'm down here on pit road with our second place finisher in Jake Cummings. And Jake, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's been a minute since we've been able to talk. I mean,
I know.
It's been a heck of a season to say the least. We've seen you up and down, and nonetheless, first off, how does it feel, being back up on the podium here after seemingly a chaotic second half of this race?
Yeah, man, I was kind of upset with myself and other factors for not being in here any earlier in the season. We're in this is race 9. Yeah, that took way too long. Yeah, I mean, a lot of bad luck to start the season, and then some good luck here and there, and then Martinsville happened. But we're back, so maybe some positive momentum to take into the final few tracks. Really looking forward to them. But yeah, that race was interesting. We got a couple really good long runs there early. People were minding their P's and Q's for sure, and well, yeah, the aero push sucked, but everyone was being pretty nice. And then I think once we got that caution and we were like past the 2/3, 3/4 mark, people just had lost patience and or driving it too hard and losing it on cold tires or whatever. And yeah, just a lot of things happening. Kind of like last season a little bit. But I guess I got some damage earlier on from scrubbing the wall and getting some wheel damage, which made me really tight. But having to come down to fix the damage kind of worked in my favor a little bit, because everyone pitted like 10 laps after me once I got the damage fixed. So, and then we were just on the right side of things, even when wrecks were happening right next to us, in front of us, several of them, and we just got a couple 4Xs, but no damage, fortunately, and we are able to just keep moving more and more forward, little by little. The past 30 laps, we were just getting caution over caution, and yeah, definitely wish I could have had a shot at Sean there, but I'm not going to complain.
And I feel like those last 3 cautions, there was cars all around you on different tire stints, and you could say a different, everyone had a different story pretty much sitting up there in the top 10. Were you, after that first caution where, you said you went, well, I know you weren't part of the caution, but you went down, got those damages repaired, and after that, were you expecting to be on a specific, strategy or anything throughout the rest of the race? Because obviously, all the yellows and things kind of threw it out the window, but nonetheless, were you feeling good about your car going into those final cautions with everything going on around you?
Yeah, it was so interesting because usually the track temps stay pretty solid between practice to the end of the race. They don't vary that much, but the variation, just as a little tidbit, between the start of practice, it was 125 degrees, and then by the end of this race, it was only about 90, maybe 95. So it was a huge difference. So in practice, we were all trying to figure out, okay, how the heck do we save the right rear and not die or get knocked out unconsciously on the exit of turn 4, especially. But by the end of the race, it was building really tight, really easily, and we went from having to feather half throttle off of 4 till we're pretty much at the exit at the beginning of the race and then by the end of the race you're pretty much flooring it by the time you finished your braking, which might have contributed to the extra yellows we saw tonight. But I felt pretty good once I knew that the rear tires were going to have a lot more stability as the sun kept going down and the temps kept falling down. I felt really fast. Definitely felt like we had a pretty good shot, but it was. I mean, all those wrecks were just happening right around me. Well, a lot of them were, anyways. I even like had some contact here and there, but just no damage done to the car, thankfully. So definitely just had a lot of luck on my side tonight, but that's kind of half the battle with CIL, especially this season, just having some luck, which hopefully we can pivot it to be a bit more, be a bit less about that for the rest of this season and next. But yeah, it was pretty good fun the first half of the race, and then it was just absolute insanity and things kind of all falling into the right places for me to get to where I was.
Well, you got the momentum going here this race. Next week we got Darlington. I believe it'll be a night race, so those cooler temperatures, like you said, will be hopefully benefiting you, and you can try to take what you got from this week and maybe use it next week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again. But before we let you go, Jake, is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, of course. I'd definitely like to shout out my wife for supporting me in all this, and I'll shout out Halloween. That was fun.
Hey, that's always a good thing to shout out.
Yeah, we got a bunch. I went trick-or-treating my little sister, and we had like a golf cart all souped up and everything. We were just zipping past everyone. It was a good Halloween. We got a bunch of candy, so good vibes right now. And also my older sister had her gender reveal for her first child back on Sunday. She's having a little girl, so I'm gonna be an uncle come May. So that's pretty exciting. Shout out to her.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yep, and congrats to her especially. But yeah, and then other than that, thanks to Converse Esports and Tech Sport Racing, and obviously thanks to you guys. I know it's you guys probably were teased with some long runs early on in that race, and you were like, oh man, finally. But then we kind of went back. But hopefully it was some more fun than some of the past few weeks.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves and a battle of attrition, but nonetheless, you made it through, got on the podium, and hopefully next week. I don't know what your preferences on Darlington are, but if looking forward to next week, maybe, and maybe looking forward to talk to you in Darlington. So have a good rest of your night, Jake, and we'll catch you next week.
You too. Bye-bye, guys.
And that was your second place finisher from Converse, Jake Cummings. We're going to send it back up to the booth with Alex for your third place finisher and alumni winner, Clint Holterman.
Yeah, we're going to be joined now by the driver of the 100 from UNC Charlotte. Hey there, Clint. This is Alex and Brad up in the CIL booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
Oh man, what a day it was for you. The first half of the race, it felt very much like, all right, Clint's got some podium speed. And then the back of the race happened, and you were there, you were in the lead, you were gone, and all of a sudden, here we are. You're back on the podium when it's all said and done. What was it like out there between this race? Because it felt very much like a tale of two halves here between the green flag runs up front and then the restart heavy back half.
Yeah, yeah, it kind of stinks because I kind of felt like I let one get away there. I was right there with Nanny most of the race there, and then the split strategy happened with 45 laps to go. He pitted, I stayed out. I thought that was the right move because with all those cars that stayed out, and of course then he got caught up in some sort of wreck. And then I felt pretty confident sailing away then at the end, but then of course I had another caution, decided to get tires. And I think a couple of restarts after that, I just went to turn 4, downshifted to 4th gear, and then gassed it up like I was in 5th gear, expecting the same amount of grip, and I just lost it, looped it, wrecked a couple people. And then from there, I was just kind of driving mad at myself and had some fresher tires, and then was able to carve my way up through there. But, man, I'm kind of, I feel like I let one slip away there just by... I don't know if I think I made the correct call of pitting 4 tires on because I got up to like 4th or 5th or something like that with one of those restarts right behind Sean before I spun out. Kind of did it to myself there. So But yeah, the restarts were crazy. Just trying to navigate through there, trying to just find any kind of clean air at all to do something because dirty air was so bad. It was so bad. So I was just looking for clean air, and I can't say that the ending wasn't fun though. To try and pass all those cars, I was just hauling ass, or honestly, just trying to get back up there. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh my god, I actually have a shot to maybe still win this race, but just came up a little short.
Now, not all that short. I mean, less than only a couple of car lengths from the win. If you had a couple more laps, I have a feeling you would have got there, given how fresh those tires were. But ultimately, it feels like this season, much like this race for you, Clint, has been drastic ups and downs at any given moment. How do you keep a level head in the race car, knowing at any given week or any given lap, you're either running 30th or third? There's not really been a middle ground for you this year.
I can't say it hasn't been frustrating. Because yeah, I feel like I feel like I have the pace to run up there top 5. And I've kind of had some circumstances, like I had that streak where I got just crashed out of 4 straight races. And kind of put myself in some holes too. Like got the pole at Martinsville, but the week before I gave myself a penalty, got myself an EO, got a second strike, sent me to the back. I had to do a weird strategy to just keep staying out there, and then this race too spun out. I'm gonna have an EOL next week, I think. So it kind of sucks. It's like I know I got the pace, but then I keep doing stupid stuff because I'm like trying to, I guess maybe make up for some of my bad luck at the beginning of the season. But I can't say I've always kept the level head. It's been a little bit frustrating, especially that Pocono race. I was ready to throw in the towel there, but. It's CIL. I've learned anything can happen in these races, even when you crash with 40 laps to go or 30 laps to go or wherever the hell I crashed with there. It's anything can still happen with how these restarts are and how everything plays out. It's just, it can get wild and crazy. So I just try to, if I got a car that can stay in the race, I try to stay in the race and just pick up the pieces from there.
I tell you what, you've had a pretty good job in recent form of being able to do just that, bringing home another podium here tonight. Clint, anyone you'd like to shout out on the third place finish here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to shout the OWR cars. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times. I think we all wrecked at some point. But it wouldn't be OWR if we weren't shooting ourselves in the foot, I guess. But we had the pace. Nick, it was really cool to see Nick get up there until he shot himself in the foot. Drew was up there. I think maybe he shot himself in the foot. I shot myself in the foot. Yeah, it always happens. Yeah, shout out to those guys. Norberg's, something happens to Norberg. Burrow gets taken out by someone. Burrow gets taken out every single time. Somehow, some way. Poor Burrow. Feel bad for him. He's always doing the right thing and then gets taken out. But yeah. But that's just how it goes, I guess, for us. But yeah, shout out to those guys, and then shout out to y'all for putting on the race tonight.
Well, Clint, thank you so much for dropping by, dude. What a rally back to third. And only 3 weeks to go here. Darlington's up next. Excited to see what you got here for the track Too Tough to Tame.
Yep. It's going to be try to put on the show there. I think I'm coming from the back, so let's hope I can do it cleanly and not wreck myself to get wrecked. So
that should be fun to watch. We'll wish you the best of luck and see you then.
All right. Thank you, guys.
That is your third place finisher here tonight, Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte. And wanted to take a quick second. We're running out of time in the show here tonight, but wanted to take a moment to talk about Wesley Shaw here tonight. Texas A&M Texarkana driver. This dude had a wild race. Starts at the back of the field, gets involved in an early wreck, has 6.5 minutes of damage that this thing needs to get repaired. He ends up going 3 laps down and through some of these pit cycles and quick cautions. He gets back on the lead lap with all this damage repaired, gets all the way back into the top 10 just to get wrecked a second time, and finishes ultimately with an 18th place finisher here today. This is the tale of just one of those days where sometimes you just keep putting your head down, you keep doing what you need to do. And sometimes it doesn't reward you, sometimes it does. Still a fantastic drive, though, in an attempt to rally for the 73. But with that, that's just about going to do it here tonight from all of us. Brad, any final thoughts before we call it an evening?
It was a tale of two halves, and nonetheless, we got 3 more races on the schedule that are going to be a heck of different. I feel like a lot of different challenges. Not necessarily. I think they're 3 different lengths now. I'm thinking about it as well. So, 3 different strategies. I mean, Darlington next week. Always a track that I feel like we go to and get some good paint schemes out of it as well. Also, wanted to note Ben Neller also started with a 1-lap hold, and he came back to finish 4th. So,
yeah,
there's a lot of drivers. Yeah, as I say, a lot of drivers were able to. Well, actually, those 2 really were I think, front of the field of just comeback kids.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Winters first top 10, Ethan Head second career top 10. I mean, big days for a lot of drivers out here today. It's cool. But yeah, with that, coming up next this week, we've got 2 more races here on CIL. Friday, November 5th, it's the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge. They have their 4th race of the season at Mugello. That should be starting at 8:45 p.m. Eastern right here. That is this Wednesday, November 5th. And then the next day at November 6th, same deal. We're at Mugello this time, though, for the Formula College Series. That is race 10 of their calendar. That should be an absolute blast. That show starting at 8:45 p.m. as well. That is November 6th, this Thursday, right here on CIL. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to do so. And then the next Cup Series race here, the next YumTwo College Cup Series race, comes to you live from Darlington Raceway, November 10th. That show starting at 8:45 p.m. That is next Monday. It is the 3rd to last race of the season. It's coming down to the wire to see who's going to be the season 13 champion, and that race is going to be a big decider in who's going to end up walking away from the trophy. So, shout out again, one last time to YumTwo. They make cooking fun. It's designed for couples to plan meals, follow recipes, and bond over cooking together, just like we've all bonded over this race here today and the hijinks that was happening in the booth during the commercials. Shout out to YumTwo, YumTwo.com. You want to check them out. But for all of us here at the CIL, all the admins, all the stewards, for producer Christian Hill, co-commentator Brad Daniels, I've been Alex Gannon saying thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching Kentucky, and we will catch you next week at the track Too Tough to Tame.
When you're behind the wheel, you need precision, timing, and teamwork. Racing isn't a solo sport. You need your pit crew and your driver. Neither is cooking. That's why we built YumTwo. YumTwo is your cooking co-driver that lets you cook and find recipes that you'll both like with whatever preferences you have. No matter how hard or how easy it is to find recipes, we'll always have a recipe for you to pick. We're sponsoring the College Cup Series this season, but off the track, we want to sponsor your dinner. Get on the grid before launch and join the waitlist now at YumTwo.com.
Looking for a college where you can learn by doing? The University of Northwestern Ohio puts the wrench in your hand and your future in motion.
I would recommend UNOH to anybody who wants to excel in this industry.
With industry connections, cutting-edge equipment, and programs in automotive, diesel, high performance, robotics, and more, this is education that works.
You will come to this school and you will leave 10 times what you were when you came here.
Apply now at unoh.edu.